everybody. How y'all doing? I just saw Maxwell's message or his chat. That is hilarious. Yep, sinkholes and me. I couldn't help it. I've been having a crazy week and I wanted to lighten the mood around here because it's been way too serious. And I had a sinkhole playlist ready to go, and I said, you know what? That's what we're doing today. So I gathered some clips from over the weekend. I want to say like Friday, Saturday. I want to say maybe some from today. And then I think that was like 15 or 16 clips, and I thought that's not enough like for a live. And then I remembered that I had made a playlist about sinkholes, and I was like, that's it. That's what we're doing. So yeah, that's what we're doing today. And if you see me like doing this a lot, it's because I kind of decided to go live at the last second, and I don't think that my headphones are charged, so I'm wired right now, and the connection sometimes pops out right here, so I don't want to have to end the live early because my headphones are not charged. So this is what we're doing. Today's gonna be probably a little bit different than normal, but we're here. I hope everyone is doing good. For people that don't know, I am MissRaeMoody of MissRaeMoody Live. Welcome. I cover stories, current events, breaking news, trials, and sinkholes. Like weather news. I like to throw in some educational clips every once in a while. Just interesting things. Whenever I'm looking at my news feed, if a headline captures my attention and I say what, or something like what the fuck, or like what's happening, you know, some kind of strong reaction, it's gonna go in a playlist, and then I'm gonna bring it here and present it, and that's what we're doing today. I invited Preach to come up, so I'm pretty sure he will be here soon, so let me go ahead and stop sharing the screen. Hi everybody, hope you all are doing good. Let me go ahead and share the appropriate screen now, and that's gonna be this one. Share audio. I hit the check, so it should be good. Alright, cool. Alright, so Sweet Vampy. I need to remember that she is Sweet Vampy now. Said that she would be right back, so I'm gonna chat with you all for a little bit and wait for Preach as well. I don't want anybody to miss anything. I want everybody to be here. Wow, all my electronics are just not behaving the way they're supposed to. But that's alright, we're gonna get through it. I hope everyone's doing good. Of course, it's very important to me that the royal family is happy, healthy, thriving, safe, doing good. All that stuff is just really important to me. I like hearing that everybody is okay and doing well. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening out there in the world, and I just, you know, really hope that everyone's doing better than at least me, because it's been a crazy week. Alright, so let me go ahead and just kind of scroll through my playlist. Maybe I'll give you a little bit of an idea of what we're going to look at today. So we're going to look at some weather news. There's a tornado that happened, I want to say close to Philadelphia, because there's the Philadelphia news that reported on it. There's also a situation in a nursing home, a shooting, a video about a item that was not supposed to be on a flight. We're going to talk about that. Bears are another topic that I like to cover. Well, animal news. Whenever it's like happy, funny, that kind of thing, that's when I like to present animal news. I will not be showing any devastating animal clips because it's just too much. I feel like the stories that have to do with children are really devastating when it comes to with child deaths. Like this one that's coming up, we're probably going to do more research on this case here about a little boy from Fruitland. So we're going to find out more about that. But those cases are just very important to talk about because they don't get covered as much as I would like. Whenever I go to those news clips, it just always seems like the views are not that much, and it just doesn't make sense to me why people don't know or they don't care. I hate to think of it that way. But I feel that I have this platform, and it's important to me to talk about things that are important, that are happening around the world and in our country. And I also try to stay away from any types of agendas that are hot button issues. You know, I don't want to have heated conversations, you know, on my platform and stuff. So I do whatever I can to keep that from happening. So I won't cover like religion or politics or yeah, politics is probably a big one. Border politics, that kind of thing. Just, you know, leave that to somebody else. There's going to be updates, actually a few updates on the Lori Vallow Chad Daybell case. That is a huge story that's been happening since last year, I want to say. And I found some updates. I also found like a 41-minute news story about some new forms. How do I say it? Like just some new news that have been coming out about them. There's been some updates that have been released, and they were talking about it, and it was more of a conversation. So I just felt like that was a little too, not serious, but just the conversation was just, I don't know how to explain it. It was just two guys talking, basically, and it just wasn't that captivating, not that interesting. I just figured that since it was such a long video, maybe just do a live on that where we could listen to them speak, we could break it down, you know, talk about what we think and that kind of thing. So I saved that for another live because we are going to cover sinkholes today, so I wanted to make sure that we have time for that. And again, I have no idea if my headphones are gonna last for this whole live stream. There's a killer clown. We got to hear about that. And let's see. Oh, and a woman that was found dead inside her car. We're going to have to talk about that too. And also a 14-minute clip from Inside Edition about a cold case that I found very interesting. I started watching it, and I was about 4 or 5 minutes in, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to save this to watch with everybody so we can talk about it. It was really interesting. And then as far as the sinkhole clips go, we're going to be educated on what they are, how they happen. Hi, No Nonsense Stucky. How you doing, lady? Thank you so much for being here. I hope you stick around. Oh, good. You're modded. That's great. So yeah, so we're going to learn more about sinkholes because I do talk about them quite a bit. And I thought that it would be good for us to learn more about them so we could talk about them later on, since it's already seeming to be somewhat of a running joke in this on this channel, because I do cover sinkholes. I think it's important to know if there's a sinkhole somewhere close by, either me or somebody that I know or anybody that happens to be in the chat. If the earth is going to open up and swallow us whole, I kind of want to know if it's going to happen so I can prepare or whatever, you know, try to leave if I can, that kind of thing. So, okay, I'm not too sure what's going on, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Preach can jump up on the panel once he gets here. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link just in case he doesn't have it. So that's that. That's not just for Preach. That could be for anybody that wants to jump up on panel and talk about the stories that I'm presenting today. As long as we, you know, stay on topic, that would be preferable. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. The first clip is from July 30th, which was a couple days ago. It's called Video Shows Car Dealership Being Hit by Tornado in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. And this is courtesy of 6 ABC Philadelphia. Let's see what's going on.
All I'm going to say is luckily somebody wasn't killed when this storm blew through. You know, you hate to see this, a business built up, and then employ so many people and have it all come to a screeching halt in a matter of seconds, literally. We're about to see that in some cell phone video that we got.
I remember when they built this place. It's all gone.
But it's not just here. The mobile home park next door was also right in the path of the storm. Officials say they know people are going to need some help. And right now, crews are working as quickly as they can to at least get the power back on.
Right now, we're reporting 6 injuries. Last night.
I just want to say real quick, I've never been through a tornado, but I've covered lots of stories, or you know, I've looked up lots of stories, have browsed through a bunch of stories. I'm kind of known for doing research and gathering clips and things like that. So you see a few things, you know, when you do things like that. One thing that I always heard about tornadoes is that when you're going through one, if you're in a building and a tornado happens to go past or through your building, that it sounds like a train. I believe that because I've heard that way too many times for it not to be true. So I just imagine just all the rumbling and just the loud noise that happens if you're in a building, a tornado, you know, goes through it, you're in it, and how stressful and scary that must be, seeing the devastation, houses getting blown away, you know, tornadoes crashing through buildings, people's jobs, people's homes. You know, it really makes me just be thankful that I have a roof over my head. Like, things are really tough, you know. You've heard that also, not no nonsense Ducky? Yeah, so I believe it, you know. I can just imagine for myself what that must be like. Must be really scary. And I'm going through some things right now, and I'm try not to focus on the negative, of course, because that doesn't help. But seeing stories like this just make me very grateful that I have a roof over my head, that my dogs are healthy, I'm healthy, no matter what. As long as I'm living and breathing, I could always turn things around if I keep trying. And yeah, and to be honest, like, I might not be as, I don't know if you would describe me as bubbly, but, you know, I usually try to be in a good mood when I hit the live, you know, button, and that's usually the attitude that I have when I go to live. You know, I'm usually like, okay, like, I'm feeling it, like, yeah, I want to see everybody, and I'm usually really pumped up and stuff like that. Today it was kind of opposite. It was more like I'm feeling down and I want to feel better. So I know that whenever I see you all in the chatting, you know, we usually are cutting up about stuff, and even if the topic is serious, we still find ways to make each other laugh. And to me, that's what family does, and that's what friends do. So I just wanted to thank everybody real quick before I forget, and let you all know that I really appreciate all of your support, and, you know, being here chatting. That it means the world to me, because you could be a million places right now and you're here with me. So I really appreciate that.
Tonight we reported 4 and possible 5. We're now up to 6 injuries that have been reported to us. We have people working with the Red Cross for some sheltering. We're told by PICO is doing a fantastic job. They've been out all night. We're talking that all power should be restored. Well, not all power, but power into our residential neighborhoods, into our trailer parks and Lincolnia will be restored by midnight tonight.
But right now, the scope of the damage here is so widespread, it'll clearly take some time. That's why they're asking for complete cooperation from everyone in the community.
Stay out of the residential neighborhoods. Don't drive through there taking pictures. We've got crews in there cutting trees down. We've got our emergency services still in those areas. To drive by and take pictures only slows us down.
Yeah, Brian and Sarah, going to take some time, clearly, when you see a building like that, to get things back to normal eventually here. Now, officials say for anyone who needs help with shelter, you're urged to call 1-800-RED CROSS. For anyone who has damage to their home and you might need some help getting that fixed, you're urged to call the Ben Salem Police Department around here, and hopefully they can connect you with the right people. From our Pretty Live in Trios, Bob Brooks, Channel 6.
It doesn't sound like there was loss of life during this tornado, and I'm very thankful for that. If that's the case, you know, it could have been a lot worse. Pets pass away, people pass away, of course. All kinds of things could happen. Valuables get destroyed, you know, memories or get gone, and it's just a really sad thing to go through, I'm sure. I hope I never know what it's like to go through a tornado. It's just so sad and depressing to think about. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove that from the playlist. I'm glad everybody's okay if that is the case. It doesn't sound like there was loss of life. Let me see, let me look at the description. It just says video shows what it was like inside a Traverse, Pennsylvania car dealership as a powerful EF3 tornado with winds up to 140 miles per hour tore through the area on Thursday evening. And then it says Shahzada Shakil, who was inside the business, captured it all unfolding, and that is going to be his clip. Southern Way. I was thinking about you whenever I was preparing for this live stream and I was making the thumbnail. I don't know if you've seen the thumbnail, but I remember how you said that sinkhole reminded you of your ex-girlfriend, and I just laughed my ass off. I remember that was you. So yes, sinkholes, facepalm. You're gonna stick around for that, right? I hope so. Alright, so let's continue on this next clip. Let me go ahead and start it and pause it. This is called Nursing Home Murder Victim Identified as Winnie Smith. Hold on, before we get started. No Nonsense Stucky says, years ago when I was in middle school, Hurricane Hugo tore up our home. That was horrible. I'm so sorry. I can't even imagine. That's literally the worst case scenario. Well, not the worst case scenario. I hope everybody lived. Loss of life is worst case scenario, but having your home tore up is right up there. You know, you have memories, you have, you know, valuables. It could be all kinds of things that just can't be replaced, but you know, when you still have each other, you still have your life, and you can still go on the next day and, you know, try to turn things around and somehow try to find a way to turn a negative into a positive. That's, you know, what I encourage people to do. She says we all survived and recovered well. That's really good to hear. I'm glad. Manuel Briggs said EF3 tornadoes, 8.0 Richter scale earthquakes, and sinkholes. Yikes, starting to feel like doomsday week. You know what? Maybe when we're already in August. Today is August 1st. This year is going by so fast. I'm already starting to plan what Halloween live is going to look like. I gotta tell you, if you don't like scary topics, ghost stories, that kind of thing, might not be the live stream for you, but I'm trying to prepare something spooky because the past few years I've been spending Halloween indoors. Has nothing to do with COVID. It's just that I want to say that maybe as I get older, I'm becoming a little more antisocial. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm embracing it. I want to say I've had way too many negative experiences with people in real life, and I've had way more positive ones online with people, and I'm just naturally kind of moving towards having most of my friendships being online. It's just a lot better for me for some reason. Growing up, I was, you know, very to myself anyways. I was always really shy and quiet, and trying to be social just kind of doesn't work out for me all the time for some reason in real life. Yeah, so that's just kind of how I do things, and now that I have a platform, I can celebrate holidays here, you know, with you guys. Hopefully y'all aren't busy and can be with me, and we can hang out and stuff like that. Southern Ways to La Folla, yes, last time I had nightmares. Sorry. Unless you like nightmares. In that case, you're welcome. Emmanuel Brick says, I can't wait for Halloween. One of my favorite holidays, and I love all that paranormal stuff. Awesome! So I could count you in. No Nonsense Turkey says, you evil man. That is hilarious. Oh, I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Alright, so let's switch gears real quick. I know we're having fun, but this sounds like it's going to be a really serious story. I have not seen it yet. wanted to wait to bring it to you all so we could all watch it together. I saw the headline and it just made me kind of, made me feel like it was something that I wanted to know more about. And if I could find any updates in the future, I will definitely bring you up to date with them. But if you weren't here when I announced the headline the first time, it's called Nursing Home Murder Victim Identified as Winnie Smith, and this was posted July 30th. This was a couple days ago, and courtesy of 23 ABC News. Alright, let's watch.
Brandon, we'll check back in with you soon. Now to the new details we are learning tonight about the murder of a resident at a local nursing home. Today, coroner's officials identified the woman as 83-year-old Winnie Smith. Officials said she died from multiple gunshot wounds. According to BPD, on July 11th, officers responded to the Pinewood Glen retirement community on South Real Road just after 9 a.m. When they arrived, they found a woman now identified as Smith with major injuries on the ground inside one of the rooms. After investigating, officers discovered the woman's roommate killed her sometime that night. The roommate, later identified as 76-year-old Sandra Bonarts, cooperated with the investigation and was arrested. Bonarts has been charged with first-degree murder, and her next court date is set for August 9th.
Wow. That's crazy. That's like elderly on elderly crime. I'm guessing
Tonight, police have charged.
Sorry, but I'm guessing the nursing home here isn't what you would think a nursing home is. It looks like some kind of I don't know if assisted living is the appropriate word, but it looks like everybody had their own apartment. I'm not too sure if they were actually being assisted 24/7. The nursing homes that I usually see are, people living together and being watched over by nurses, professionals, that kind of thing. This kind of looks like they were living on their own, but I want to know more. Maybe they were roommates, so maybe they just didn't get along. Who knows what the issue could be? My question is, where did the grandma, I'm sure she's a grandma, maybe not, but where did she get the gun? Who gave it to her? Because if she's living in a nursing home situation, I kind of doubt that she went out and bought one. But who knows? I could be wrong. So that's definitely a story that I want to look out for. So I will actually go ahead and put this on watch later, because I want to look. I don't want to forget about it, and I want to be able to remember to find more clips about it. Because yes, that's very wow. All right, let's go ahead and continue. This next story is called Police Cranston Man Who Returned Fire as Shooting Suspect Facing Charges. Now I want everybody to listen to this story. It's very quick. It's only 34 seconds long. Oh my gosh. Southern Way, she lost in bingo, and that shit ain't no game to Grandma. Maybe Grandma was cheating. Maybe the other one was cheating, and yeah, Grandma A decided to get revenge. I can't imagine, I want to say the older that I get, the crankier I get, the littlest things just kind of get to you. That's one thing, but I'm telling you, where did the gun come from? How does a little grandma get a hold of a gun? I'm pretty sure they checked her before she was allowed into this nursing home facility. That's going to be something I'm sure the police are going to want to look into, because there could be more charges on people if they assisted in the situation. But that's pretty funny, Southern Way. You have jokes. So real quick, yeah, I want everybody to pay attention to the story, and I want you to put yourself in the situation, and what would you do is kind of the question here. And on top of that, what would you expect to happen afterwards when it comes to legalities? So this is courtesy of WPRI, and this was posted July 30th, 2021. No Nonsense Ducky said, please follow up on that story. I want to know more. Me too. I definitely will. I already put it in the watch later. So one of these days when I'm, not doing anything, even if I do forget about the story, I will eventually go to my watch later and scroll through there, and then I'll remember. The only way I might not be able to update on it is if it goes private. that actually happens with news stories. You would think maybe not, because they're news stories, what's to hide, but sometimes they do get privated, they do get taken down by the uploader, that kind of thing. It is really weird, but I'll try to remember. Or if anybody out there can recall, you know, don't be shy. You can always ask me, like, hey, what happened to that one situation, and I will most likely look into it right then and there. Alright, so let's go ahead and watch this clip and let me know what you all think, okay?
A Cranston man after they say he admitted to firing back at the suspect who shot his mother and stepfather. It's a story we've been tracking since the shootout happened here on Harris Avenue last week. 24-year-old Angelo Lucchetti told officers he was outside with his family when a man approached them and started shooting. Police say he admits he went back inside, grabbed his mother's gun, and returned fire. Lucchetti's mom and stepdad have since been released from the hospital. Police are still looking for the suspect who shot them. Anyone with information is asked to give them a call.
Alright, so imagine yourself outside with your parents and somebody walks up and shoots your parents. You know there's a gun inside. What would you do? Would you go back inside, get the gun, and fire back? Or, I mean, definitely get help for your parents. That's the first thing that came to my mind. I'm thinking that most people have their cell phone on them, so grab your cell phone, call 911 type of thing, you know, or if your cell phone is inside, grab that. But this man, you know, reacted in a different way. He went in and grabbed the gun and fired back, and then he got arrested. You would think that would be some kind of form of self-defense, or I would think so anyways. I think that if anybody, I don't have parents that I really care about. My biological parents in real life abandoned me the day I was born, so I can't relate to somebody that loves their biological parents. But I can imagine loving my parents, and if that was the case and somebody shot them, I would probably get so angry that I would run inside. Even if, you know, it's like a crime of passion type of thing, I probably would retaliate in some way if I had the chance to. So I'm not sure what the charges are. I'm thinking maybe it's more about firing back, endangering people that could be close by. You never know. A bullet could ricochet off of something, hit somebody else. That could be an issue. But it didn't sound like that happened. I'm kind of surprised that he was arrested. Southern Way says, yep, I'd shoot back. Thank you. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. And then, Emmanuel said, thanks, Emmanuel. That's really sweet of you. I just want to be honest. I never want to pink cloud a situation that's real. It's real, and it is what it is, and it's not always, you know, rose-colored glasses. As much as I try to think of the bright side of things and stuff, sometimes things are complicated and not so great, and I want to be honest about that. I never want to portray, you know, a situation where everything has always worked out perfectly and everybody's happy and there's love everywhere, and I've always been, you know, I don't know, spoiled and daddy's little girl, and no, none of that. None of that is true. Maybe I'm a long way from like when I was super young and I used to express myself by like, I'll say it, when I was younger I was a goth kid, okay? I don't know if you can imagine that, but I was. And that's how I would cope with a lot of the dark aspects about my life. And I'm a lot older now, and it just doesn't really work that way anymore, you know? The only way to really deal with it is just to be honest about it at this point. But yeah, I really don't think the guy reacted in a way that should have gotten him arrested. other than maybe he endangered other people's lives, then there should be something that he should have to like face. I don't know about like serious charges. I hope he doesn't have like serious charges. It's not something that stays on his record or anything. I think they need to be more focused on who shot his parents in the first place. I'm really glad to hear that they recovered and that they're gonna have a recovery. They kept, you know, they didn't pass away. That would have been really, really bad. So I just really hope that they find who did it. I just wanted to know what everybody else thought, because there's probably going to be people that say that he should have been arrested, you know, or that he shouldn't have reacted that way. And I kind of just wanted to ask what you all thought about that, how you would react, what you would do, and what you think, if it's appropriate that he was arrested or not, you know. So that's that. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove this from the playlist before I play it again, because sometimes I get so nervous that I replay videos, and yes, so let's try not to do that today. Alright, so this next clip is about an item that was attempted to be, that someone attempted to take with them onto an airplane. So I thought this was pretty interesting for us to talk about. This is called a dagger found inside a hairbrush at Norfolk International Airport, and this is courtesy of WAVY TV 10, and this was posted July 30th, 2021. Let's take a look and let me know what you all think.
And check out this picture of a dagger hidden inside of a hairbrush. Agents say they stopped a passenger that was trying to board a flight this morning. Obviously, things like this are not allowed on airplanes. If you have something like this, you'll need to check it in.
Okay, let's look at that again. So, this looks like they purchased it that way. I wouldn't be surprised if this is an item out in the market. So, I'm thinking this is plastic. This could still do some damage, especially if somebody doesn't see it coming. So this dagger is cleverly placed inside this hairbrush. I'm kind of wondering at this point how they even caught that, because if you look at the brush by itself, it looks pretty normal. I don't know if maybe the x-ray machine was able to catch it. Maybe they saw like this part like in there. No Nonsense Stucky says, that's crazy. That is crazy. And there's people that will travel to get close to their enemy, someone they don't like, and who knows, like I would want to ask more questions to whoever was trying to carry this on the plane with them. Like, not that I really shouldn't expect them to be honest, right? Let me see. Emmanuel Brick says, I have a credit card knife and a belt knife. I love stuff like that. I snuck one of them into court. See, I knew it. I was like, as soon as I go live, someone's gonna make me laugh. Y'all are funny. But I'm just wondering, like, what were the intentions here? Like, this is something like maybe Buffy the Vampire Slayer would have carried on with her on a flight, but it would have to have been a wooden stake. So this wouldn't have worked out for her. This looks like it's probably plastic. I don't know what you all think. Could this part be metal? Could the sharp part be metal? Let me take this off. But yes, is it possible that the sharp part could be metal? Because the handle looks plastic to me. But either way, that could do a lot of damage to somebody. Let's see. Daniel Briggs said wish.com in case any of you guys are interested. I've heard a lot of like negative reviews about items from wish.com. I always just figured everything that came from there wasn't going to be high quality. But if Emmanuel Briggs says he found some good stuff, then maybe I should take a second look. So then when I say that is crazy, I'm telling you. I see some of these news clips, and if I have a strong reaction one way or the other, I'm bringing it to you all, and I want to know your reaction as well. So yeah, I'm glad they were able to confiscate that either way. I somebody that's on a flight. I'm picturing, especially with some of the traveling that I've seen happening around here, people don't have the best intentions, or you never know. Some people, they're just trying to joke around, play around, and things could still go left. So that's something that could be potentially dangerous. So hopefully whoever had that didn't have bad intentions with it. And if they did, I'm gonna guess they're gonna figure out some other kind of way to get the job done, because that's pretty crazy. I can't even imagine what situation I would want to be to have something like that in my possession. Somebody doesn't usually go, you know what, I'm gonna get a dagger hairbrush for my protection, because you never know. You know, nobody walks around with a hairbrush. Like, why are you concealing it? And on a flight, like, I'm just thinking bad intentions all the way around. So I hope that wasn't intended for anybody, and if it is, that works itself out, because that looks like a really scary, sharp object. Emmanuel Briggs says, some stuff is trash and some stuff is really good. If you ever want to know, just tell me and I'll put you up on what's what. Sweet. That's awesome. Thanks, Emmanuel. Alright, so let's go ahead and go to the next clip. Okay, this is going to be serious. I'm going to go ahead and put my viewer discretion as advised, because this is actually really disturbing. You might have heard about this story already. I want to say I've seen at least one or two other podcasters report on it. That actually made me feel really good. It's good to know that there's other people out there that are telling these stories, because again, like I said, they don't get enough traction as I think they should. These are the kinds of stories that I should be able to talk to just about anybody and have them know about it, because it's just so serious and just crazy. Let's see. Southern Way says, I'm gonna check out that belt buckle knife. Let me know how that works. And then Sweet Bumpy says, okay, I'm back fully. Thank you, thank you. Glad you're back. What the hell is that? Are you talking about the dagger brush? Yeah, it's a dagger brush. So I guess it was a dagger that was kept inside a brush, and if you fuck around with whoever has that, they're gonna split it up and they're gonna shank you with it, and you probably won't even expect it coming at all. Holy shit, yeah. I don't know. The more I think about it, maybe I should have one. Right, on a flight. I'm telling you. I was kind of picturing at first that the person was traveling with the intention to use it. But now that you say, like, on a flight, like, what if they were going to try to take over the plane with it? That was on a flight. Yeah, I think they stopped them from getting on with it. Manuel Briggs says it's pretty handy. I think what I'll purchase first before getting anything crazy like that is that hammer that I was telling you about that breaks windows. I don't know why. I just feel that with all of the hot car cases that I've seen involving pets, involving children, what if one day I'm out shopping or something and I see somebody like suffering inside a hot car and I need to bust a window open. I want to be prepared. So that's something that I would invest in. Emmanuel Briggs also says something about a belt cutter, because you never know, you might need to, you know, get out of a seatbelt situation for whatever reason. Those are things that I would want to buy first, and then I'll invest on some like interesting stealthy weapons. Oh, that's pretty wild. Yeah. Alright, so again, let's switch gears and get into a serious story. So this is Ant 33 charged in death of 2 children whose bodies were found during Essex traffic stop. This was posted July 30th of this year, courtesy of WJZ. I also want to read the description. It says, a Baltimore woman faces several charges, including 2 counts of child abuse, resulting in death after the decomposing remains of her young niece and nephew were found in the trunk of her car during a late Wednesday traffic stop in Essex. Let's find out what happened.
Certainly a case that rocked the Baltimore County community. 2 children found dead in the trunk of their aunt's car. Thanks for joining us at 7 tonight. I'm Rick Rader.
And I'm Denise Koch.
Well, this just here, a horrific story, absolutely heartbreaking, and we're learning some new details about what happened tonight.
And WJZ is live. Avajoy Burnett has the very latest, and we do want to warn you, these details are very hard to hear. Avajoy.
Good evening. Baltimore County Police say this all started with a traffic stop when the defendant was speeding. When that officer smelled an odor coming from the vehicle, they later found the bodies of those 2 children in the trunk. 33-year-old Nicole Johnson faces several charges after her 7-year-old niece and 5-year-old nephew were found dead inside her car trunk. Baltimore County Police say an officer pulled Johnson over late Wednesday night in Essex. And when the officer told her the car had to be towed because the tags were fake, the officer detected the unmistakable odor of decomposition. At one point, the officer even noticed that the clear bag contained maggots inside. According to the department, after repeated requests from the officer, Johnson removed the blanket, exposing the decomposing body of a young child who was inside a suitcase. Police say they later found the body of another child in a bag. Johnson told police she was taking care of the kids because their mother wasn't able to. But the mom told police she tried to get her kids back, and in March of 2021, she arranged to have the children returned, but the defendant never showed up. According to the documents, the little girl may have been dead since May of last year when they were staying at this inn off the last.
If that's true, then when the mother wanted the children back, they were still alive at that point. Why did the aunt keep them? Only, well, I don't want to give it away, but she is responsible for what happened to them.
Highway. Police say the defendant admitted she hit the little girl and she fell and hit her head. Johnson remains in jail with no bond. Now, according to the court documents, when the autopsy was done, that 7-year-old girl, Jocelyn Johnson, weighed 18 pounds. Her 5-year-old brother, Larry O'Neill, weighed 21 pounds. The official cause of death has not been determined. Live in Towson tonight, Avajoy Burnett for WJZ.
Southern Way says this is when the hairbrush shank would come in handy. Yes, it's too bad those kids didn't have one with them. I'm not too sure what happened to the second child. I'm going to go ahead and also save this to my watch later so I can get updates on that situation. This isn't over. This is just the beginning of the story. I'm sure we'll probably hear something from the mom if, you know, they're talking about her statements and things like that. They've already spoken to her because just something isn't reading correctly. I really hope that they do verify what the mom is saying, because it's just very crazy to me that if she wanted the kids back in March and the aunt said, oh, I don't know what she said, even if she has just been like ghosting her this entire time, and then, you know, months later, because here, what, this was July 30th, March, the mom asked for the kids back in March, April, May, June, July, August. It's been 5 months without seeing the kids. What was going on this whole time? And the plates for the car were not valid, and that's good, because that's the only way they even found out what was happening. Who knows what she was on her way to do with the bodies? I'm sure she was gonna go hide them or conceal them somewhere and just, you know, continue saying like, I don't know what happened. We would have had another Lori Vallow case. That's exactly how it started. Where are the kids? Crickets. Until the investigation happened, and then it was discovered that they had been passed away and were buried in the new husband's ranch on the property. That's crazy. We're gonna have some updates on that case too. So if you're not aware of the Lori Vallow situations, let me know and I can give you a quick rundown. Manuel Brick says sounds like some crackhead stuff. Maybe the mom had some kind of drug dependency and that's why she asked for help from, maybe it's her sister, because the title says aunt of the children, so maybe that was directly her sister. She trusted her perhaps, and She failed her completely and failed the kids completely. And I wouldn't be surprised to find out if that's the situation, if there was a drug dependency, I wouldn't be surprised at all to find out the CPS or something like it was involved and they didn't do their part as well. But we'll need to update on that situation to have more information so we could be better educated on it and appropriately comment on it. Because for now, I just have speculations. I can only guess what was going on there. Alright, let's go ahead and make sure that I put it in save watch. I'm pretty sure I did. I mean, save to watch later. But I'm gonna do my due diligence. Alright, so this next clip is about a bear. It is not serious and emotional, so let's take that off. Alright, so this is called Badly Behaving Bear Gets a Second Chance in West Yellowstone. And this is courtesy of KPAX-TV, and this was posted July 30th of this year. So let's watch.
More likely than not, grizzly bears like the one behind me here at the Grizzly and Wolf Discovery Center end in tragic stories of both human loss and bear loss. And one such bear, if you remember back to the Rainbow Point Campground in July 2020, his name is now Bo, and he resides here, and plus, he got a job. We heard
Gorgeous bear. See, look, even this bear has a job. What the hell?
About Bo getting into that campground, and we knew that, you know, the outcome was likely to not be good.
He is the 450-pound grizzly bear version of Frank Abagnale. You know, like the movie Catch Me If You Can.
A year later, he's adjusted very, very well.
He's a professional food thief that, as Discovery Center lead naturalist Tut Fuentevilla puts it, went from hot water to full employment with benefits.
He is enthusiastic about playing with some of the other young bears, Celie and Condi, that he comes out with sometimes. He's enthusiastic about exploring what we call the enrichment in the habitat.
That's him there on the left, putting on a show. A year ago this month, though, he was making headlines. Bo made his way into the Rainbow Point Campground near West Yellowstone, ripping through coolers, tents, even sleeping on the hood of a truck at one point while a family took shelter inside. That brings me to Bo's occupation.
Bo has been helping us test what we call bear-resistant containers, and these are products that are designed to be difficult for bears to get into.
Well, bear tested, camper approved.
So this bear's job is to destroy stuff. That is freaking awesome.
These are just a part of Bo's office. Whether it's a cooler, a dumpster, even one of the big ones you see in Yellowstone National Park, it's Bo's job to crack them.
That's hard. It's hard to design a container that humans can use effectively, but bears cannot.
Bears like Bo are life residents at the center, with the oldest being Sam, a nearly 1,000-pound fella who was born in Alaska back in 1990.
Whoa, I'm scared of Sam. He looks scary. He looks really serious with that fish in his mouth.
But Fuentevilla says Bo, like the rest, has gotten to live as naturally as possible. A rare end to their stories.
Getting to see him have fun out there, getting to see him play, getting to see him explore new things. You're watching an animal that has thoughts of its own, has some feelings, and we can't necessarily perfectly understand them, but it's great to be able to see that life ahead of him.
In West Yellowstone at the Grizzly.
Just remember that song from that Baloo would sing. It's all about the bear necessities, and then you'll understand bears.
In Wolf Discovery Center, Cody Boyer, MTN News.
That was awesome.
5-year-old.
Oh no, okay. So this next clip is going to be very serious. Obviously, we're going to talk about a child death, so let me go ahead and remove that. Let's catch up on the chat. Southern Way says, this is great. He is loving life. Definitely. He was out roaming around, getting into stuff. I'm sure he was loving life back then too, but now at least he's safe. The reason I say that is because I remember one bear story that really affected me. I want to say this was probably like 2 or 3 years ago. And out of California, and there was a bear that was in an area where people go to, and the people were feeding the bear, and the bear became, I forgot what that word is, but it's when people, when bears or animals get used to people. And they ended up putting the bear down for that reason only, because he was very comfortable going up to people and expecting them to feed him. So they put the bear down. They didn't try to find a sanctuary for it. They didn't try to find a zoo for it. They didn't try to do anything. Their solution was just to put it down. So when I saw that clip, that just made me feel really good, that even if there are people that can't think of solutions to problems, sometimes there are people that think of solutions to problems. And that was just really heartwarming to see. But I still think about that other bear, because that was really fucked up in my opinion. People completely set him up to get killed in a way, if you know what I mean. Manuel Break says that's pretty cool, but they should put them back into the wild. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. One way or the other, I guess I'm just happy that he got to keep his life and live. So I'll stick I'll stick with that one. No Nonsense says, damn, what the hell? Yeah, it's a bear with a job. Yeah, I'm sure he gets paid in like fish and picnic baskets. I was just saying. Alright, so this is another story that I've seen some YouTubers, especially that cover child death stories and things like that, child abuse stories, and I do want to get more into this. I know there's more to this story than this one clip, so I'm going to put this to Safe to Watch Later so I can update on it. This was posted July 30th, so for all I know, there's been more updates. I'm going to look into it and present any updates that I find in a future live. This is called Still No Sign of Missing Fruitland boy after police and community search the town for Michael. And this is courtesy of KTVB. Let's find out what's going on here.
That Michael Vaughn has now been missing for 3 full days. He went missing Tuesday evening in Fruitland. Efforts from community members and police have covered nearly every inch of the city and some surrounding areas. But this afternoon, there is still no sign of the missing boy. Our Andrew Bartline joins us live from Fruitland with the latest details on the search. Andrew.
Tammy, the Fruitland Police Department wouldn't go on camera with us in an interview to give any additional statements, but we do know that this is still considered a missing person case, and while they have combed through much of the local area and the surrounding area, they haven't given up. After 2 full days of searching,
I don't know any of the particulars. I, just like you, know he's missing.
and a nonstop community effort.
It's pretty incredible to know that you've got a community and that much support when we need it.
Friday morning's fields remain quiet and empty. Michael Joseph Vaughn went missing Tuesday night in Fruitland. He's 5 years old and was last seen near 9th Street in Arizona. He was wearing a light blue Minecraft shirt, blue boxer briefs, and sandals. In a statement, the Fruitland police say the search the morning of July 29th covered the city completely and some of the surrounding areas. Fruitland police add they do not have any searches involving the community planned unless new details develop. However, they say aircraft, drones, and dogs are still searching the rest of the area.
He's an amazing little boy. Your typical little 5-year-old, very curious, inquisitive.
Jen Newman is a neighbor of the family and has been speaking publicly on their behalf. She says the family is beyond thankful for the community support and the efforts to find their son.
Make sure his face is out there. He needs to be seen.
5-year-old Michael Joseph Vaughn.
He just disappeared in like a split second, and there's no indication of anything.
Now there is no public search group set out right now for the community, but if folks want to go and search on their own, they are welcome to. The police department says that people need.
Usually the word outcry comes after public. I bet you he was gonna say that there's no public outcry, and he was like, wait a minute, yes there is. That's probably where he got like caught up there. That's just my guess.
To be mindful that some of these fields are cultivated lands, they are private property. Don't go anywhere where you don't have permission. And
okay.
Additionally, the police department directed me toward their Facebook page for any future updates. We will link over to that on our website and continue to be a central source of information around this search at ktvb.com. Tammy.
Andrew, thank you so much for that live.
Alright, so she's probably just gonna thank him. Alright, so I went ahead and did a quick search because I wanted to know if he has been found since then. It has been a couple of days. It looks like he is still missing as of a day ago. It looks like the parents had a news conference, so if you are used to these kinds of stories, if you go to Queen's live streams and if you've seen the parents in a news conference, we usually like to break those types of videos down and get a feel for what we think happened. Sometimes you can just tell that the parents had something to do with it, so I'm definitely going to want to grab that if I could find it. Sometimes those news conferences aren't that easy to find. There's one that I'm still looking for. Only reason why I have not covered a child, and I can't remember his name at this time because there's two that I haven't covered, and that's because I was missing some information. Maybe one of these days I'll try to catch up to what's going on, add some current clips to that as well, and present them, just kind of have a live stream about those cases. But sometimes those news conferences are not just available on YouTube. Sometimes you gotta find them either like on Facebook or Twitter and things like that, so I do need to do some digging. Hopefully I will be able to find it on YouTube because that'll make it faster for me, but we'll see what happens. But yes, as far as this little boy, Michael Vaughn, I hope they do find him safe. I hope he's okay wherever he is. But we gotta remember he's a child. He's a little boy. He's not someone that could take care of himself. You know, he can't cook for himself. He can't, you know, very well shop for himself. He can't provide a roof over his head, obviously, that kind of thing. When a child is missing, most of the times it's gonna end tragically, and that's what's really sad about covering these stories. It's just you wanna think positively, you wanna hope for the best, but for the most part we know how these stories end, and it's really sad. But it's still very important to put these stories out there and talk about it, because there are too many people that just live through life every single day without even knowing or even thinking about like these kinds of stories at all. You know, I try to be sociable, but I think that's probably one of the reasons why I have a hard time keeping personal relationships in real life, as far as like friendships go and stuff like that, for a long time, because people really aren't interested in the same stuff that I am. People like to talk about themselves or other people that they know, and usually it's gossip. I want to say it feels like gossip, so I try to change the subject, and I'm like, oh, like, did you hear about this crazy story? You know, I heard like this happened, that happened, and they just kind of get this vibe from me, I guess, that I only like to talk about like really serious situations and things like that. So we end up like not even communicating for that long, because they want to talk about what they want to talk about, I want to talk about what I want to talk about. It's very rare to find somebody that's into true crime in real life. But that's why I'm happy to have this platform to bring people in that are interested and do care about missing kids, you know, missing people, domestic violence stories, abuse, that kind of thing. I also cover theft, you know, just try not to keep it all too serious. But this type of story, when it comes to children, if you ever watch Queen's lives, she'll say too that that's going to be more important than anything else, and I could not agree more with that. So I already went ahead and added the story to my watch later list so that I could update on it and bring you any updates. So let's go ahead and remove that from the playlist, and it looks like we're gonna have to talk about another very serious situation involving a child. Let me go ahead and play it so I can pause it. Okay, just give me 1 second, ma'am. This is called Parents Charged in Accidental Shooting of 4-Year-Old Girl on Detroit's East Side. This was posted July 30th of 2021, and courtesy of Click on Detroit, Local 4, WDIV.
All right, our other top story tonight, the parents of a 4-year-old little girl who found the gun and shot herself have been formally charged.
Jesse Briggs and Shamira Houston both charged with child abuse and with tampering with evidence. Priya Mann, following this story. And Priya, you talked to the chief about it.
Yeah, Deb and Kim, the chief is frustrated, saying this was completely preventable. And today, the parents of that 4-year-old found themselves at 36th District Court.
Good afternoon, sir. What's your name, please? Jesse Briggs.
The parents of a 4-year-old girl who accidentally shot herself faced a judge.
Is it just me, or does he not sound devastated? I kind of feel like that tone of voice is like he's more annoyed to be there than anything. Am I alone on that?
Friday, 21-year-old Jesse Briggs was charged with second-degree child abuse and felony firearm. 21-year-old Shamira Houston was charged with tampering with evidence.
It's tragic for all parties. It's tragic for mom. It's tragic.
Tampering with evidence. That means that she was trying to save her ass and her, I don't know if they said was the parents, her baby daddy's ass as well. I'm telling you, there's something suspicious about this. Emmanuel Briggs says, oh, sorry, that's the wrong chat. Here we go. He definitely sounds like he's more irritated than sad. What did you think about the mom? She didn't look very devastated either. If anything, she looked scared, but considering she might be just scared of being in jail, I'm not too sure that they have any feelings for the child that just lost their life due to their negligence.
Tragic for dad, it's tragic for the child, because when this is done and the adjudication process is over, we still have a baby that's been shot.
On Tuesday, Children's Hospital called police after the 4-year-old came in suffering from a gunshot wound to her abdomen. At first, Detroit police were told the little girl was shot in a park near Verner and Gratiot on the city's east side. But the investigation quickly took detectives to the family's home a few blocks away on Shane.
The child got the gun inside the home and
So does that mean that the child shot herself in the home and then the parents moved her to the park to make it look like she got shot there? Let's hear that again, if y'all don't mind. I'm gonna go back to this part. This clip isn't that long anyways. I just want to understand it fully. Let me see if that works.
Felony firearm. 21-year-old Shamira Houston was charged with tampering with evidence.
It's tragic for all parties. It's tragic for mom. It's tragic for dad. It's tragic for the child, because when this is done and the adjudication process is over, we still have a baby that's been shot.
On Tuesday, Children's Hospital called police after the 4-year-old came in suffering from a gunshot wound to her abdomen. At first,
the hospital called the police. So the parents didn't even call 911 or anything like that. They went directly to the hospital, probably thought that would be a way to avoid any kind of investigation, but the hospital, of course, are mandated reporters and had to call the police, and that's how they found out.
First, Detroit police were told the little girl was shot in a park near Verner and Gratiot on the city's east side. But the investigation quickly took detectives to the family's home a few blocks away on Shane.
The child got the gun inside the home and unfortunately shot herself. And it didn't have to happen. Kids are moving around these houses and people have weapons. They need to make sure that they're properly secured.
Police say other children who live in the home are now with relatives.
The key concern here is to keep these babies safe. It's very tragic, particularly when you look at the fact that you can get a free gun lock from any police precinct, no questions asked, and we'll deliver it. I mean, I'll drop the gun lock off at your house. Just call a precinct and say, I need a gun lock, I don't have a ride, we'll get it to you.
Yeah, the chief.
I didn't know that. That's good to know. I wonder if that applies for all police precincts. Do they give it to you? I doubt they sell it to you, right? That would be inappropriate. I kind of want to find out about that. If I ever have to talk to a cop again, you think that would be an inappropriate question to ask? Let's see. Emmanuel Briggs says, damn idiots. They should have secured that weapon. They knew there was a baby in that house. I'm kind of wondering if they kind of weren't hoping something like that was going to happen the way they're reacting. Kind of suspicious to me. I would be devastated. Well, first of all, I wouldn't be that irresponsible, but you would think they'd be like really sad. But it looks like this says parents charged an accidental shooting. So at least it wasn't an accidental death. I know that's not a big deal of a difference, you know, it shouldn't have happened in the first place, but I'm just really glad that the baby still is alive. and maybe that's why they're not devastated. I'm telling you, I don't feel good about this story at all. I'm definitely going to want to keep up to date with this.
Reminding folks to secure your weapons. Now, it's not clear if either parent was at home at the time of the shooting. Police still investigating those parents, expected to be back in court in a few weeks. Reporting live from downtown Detroit, I'm Priya Mann, Local 4.
Okay, back in court in a few weeks, so that gives us some time. I bet you my save to watch later is going to have a bunch of doubles, but that's okay. I just want to make sure I don't lose any stories. Alright, so let's remove that playlist. Okay. Alright. This next story is called Man Kills His Father in Portage, Determined Armed and Dangerous by Police. And this is courtesy of 13 on Your Side.
Police.
This was posted July 30th of this year. Let's find out what's going on.
Police in Kalamazoo County are looking for a man who they say killed his father, a retired oral surgeon from Portage. 56-year-old Scott Sturfey is considered armed and dangerous. According to officials, he has traveled out of state and has been seen in Chicago and Seattle since July 25th. The body of 82-year-old Dr. Thomas A. was found in his home on Glen Cove Court that night and determined that he was killed. If you have any information or know where Sturfey could be, call police or Silent Observer.
Somebody on the run is very important to keep up to date with. I want to know if they catch him, where they catch him. I really hope someday that I have a really long reach as far as like subscribers and people coming into the chat and stuff like this, because when I see stories where there's somebody that we need to be on the lookout for, I feel like everybody should know. There should be like one place that people could go to and just look at either like news stories like this or pictures, information, because I feel like more criminals would be found if more people knew about it. You know what I mean? Obviously, I really do appreciate everybody that's here, but what I mean to say is I really feel like this clip should have more than 68 views to it. That's it. This was posted like 3 days ago and there's only 68 views and I'm probably like 5 of them. So that's where I'm coming from with this. I just really think it's important that these stories just get out, because I'm telling you, the everyday person doesn't know, and most people don't even care to know about stuff like this, and that's just crazy to me. Alright, so again, let me go ahead and put this in save to watch later because I don't want to forget about it. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and move on to the Lori Vallow updates. For any of you that aren't aware of this situation, it's been ongoing for some time now. One day, maybe I'll decide to just grab every clip that I could find and do my own research on this case, because it is so complicated. It involves so many people. A lot of people have died in the situation. There's a doomsday cult involved. There's a grave digger involved. His crazy wife is involved. Spouses have passed away. Children have passed away. They've been found dead. And it just gets crazier and crazier as time goes on. But there's been some updates, so we want to go ahead and keep up to date with the story. And one of these days, don't be surprised if you see a live stream schedule that's going to be just about them, because there's so much information out there, and that's going to take some time to gather and to report on. So I'm going to take a quick break because I got to get something to drink, but I am listening on my headphones. So this next clip is a little over 4 minutes long, so I think that should give me enough time to do that. I'll let it play, that way there are no interruptions. This clip is called New Documents Give Details in case of Lori Vallow. Southern Way says, sounds like a Lifetime movie. It's gonna be. They already have an actress lined up for Lori Vallow, so yeah, it's gonna get there. I wish that YouTube would respect people's right to fair use and allow us to share clips like that, because we would be, you know, expressing our freedom of speech, if you will. It's not like I personally would want to just show a movie and just let it play and not say anything. I would want to comment on it, especially considering I've been following the story for so long and I know a little bit about it. I would interject and you know, I'm sure they're not going to cover every single detail, so I know I would have a lot to say and stuff like that, but they don't let us, and that's really disappointing. The other day we had an offline chat going. If you don't know what that is, it's when you basically go live. No, you don't go live, but you have the setup like how it is here. I'm on the panel, people jump up on the panel, and then I could share a screen without actually going live on YouTube. And we're able to look at whatever we want because technically we're not live on YouTube, but we could still see the same thing. It doesn't record anything, it doesn't save anything, it won't upload anything. You know, we're just literally just hanging out, watching whatever we want without any issues. But the only catch is you have to be on the panel. It's not like where you're in a chat right now and you're watching the live stream. You would have to be offline. So it's kind of like a back chat, if you will, sure. The only thing is a lot of people are kind of intimidated about being on the panel, but you can cam off and you can mic off, so people have done that before. If you're interested in doing something like that with me, let me know. If you're not in my Instagram chat, if I don't have a way to get a hold of you outside of the live stream, we're gonna have to find a way to communicate because I have to send you a link. So think about that. And so I'll go ahead and play this clip. Let me know what you all think. Yes, this was posted July 28th and courtesy of azfamily, powered by 3TV and CBS 5 AZ. I will be right back.
Tonight we have new details in the case of the two kids who went missing from Chandler and then were found buried in their mom's new husband's backyard up in Idaho. Their mother, Lori Vallow, is charged in their deaths. She's also accused of conspiring to kill her former husband.
2 weeks ago, we told you about the 2,500 emails Chandler police released, giving us a better idea of what they were dealing with in this truly bizarre case. Kim Powell's been digging through all those documents ever since, and you've got some new nuggets for us tonight, Kim.
Yeah, and these emails are 2 years worth of detective work, and while some are completely redacted, others fill in some gaps in this investigation that we've been following. And there are emails between different agencies about what they've found on the key players in the missing kids case, and there are tips from family members about their concerns with Lori's behavior. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, like this one of 7-year-old JJ on a ride alone, taken within a few days after his sister Tylee disappeared. And this photo of Lori and Tylee on a beach, smiling. And then there's this one of JJ sitting on the couch in Rexburg, Idaho, on the last day he was seen alive. He was later found buried in those same red pajamas. All of these photos were found in Lori Vallow's iCloud account by detectives. It would be nearly a year after their disappearances before they were found buried in her new husband's backyard in Idaho. But new documents from the investigation show several law enforcement agencies piecing everything together even before the kids went missing.
She's lost her mind. I don't know how else to say it. We're LDS. She thinks she's a resurrected being and a God and member of the 144,000. She's come. Jesus is coming next year.
That's Charles Vallow on Chandler police body camera footage.
Okay, so you heard. Okay, Southern Way says yes, that would be cool. All right, so I'm gonna give you my email address. Go ahead and email me, and what I'll do is whenever we do something like that, whenever we get together to watch stuff, I'll send you a link. So then you'll be on the panel, and like I said, you don't have to cam up, you don't have to have your mic on if you don't want. There will still be a chat like this for you to chat in, and we could look at it. The only thing is, for you to see the screen that we're sharing, is you would have to be on the panel. You know what I mean? But what he was saying, so the guy that's on the screen now was Lori Vallow's I don't even know if that was her first husband. I want to say she's been married a few times. But that was her last husband before the one that she has now. He mysteriously passed away in a way. Her brother killed him allegedly in self-defense. And in this video, this is obviously body cam, police body cam, he's saying that Lori Vallow was kind of losing her mind. Now when he says that they're LDS, he means Latter-day Saints. So that's a religion that they're involved in. Lori Vallow, it was part of a group that was kind of obsessed with the end times, with like rapture and stuff like that. She thought that she was part of the 144,000. I don't know if you know what that means, but from what I remember, you know what, I don't want to give out misinformation, so let me go ahead and give you the appropriate definition for that real quick. Southern Way, just email me and just say like, hey, it's me, and then that way I can email you a link whenever we get together and watch videos offline. That's what I call it, offline. But it says, who are the 144,000 in the Bible? It says, one understanding is that the 144,000 are recently converted Jewish evangelists, that's weird, sent out to bring sinners to Jesus Christ during the 7-year tribulation period. And there's been arguments whether tribulation is before or after the rapture. But tribulation is supposed to be a time of a lot of suffering. I want to say that Antichrist has already, you know, appeared and has taken over. Sorry, I get parched when I talk a lot. But yes, so she believed she was one of these 144,000. She thought she was very special. It says pre-tourists believe they are Jewish Christians sealed for deliverance from the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 AD. Sure, there's lots more information. You know, biblical information is always abundant. There's always a bunch of stuff to look at, but I just wanted to get a general description of what the 144,000 is, because it does come up in this case. Thought I heard something. Emmanuel Brick says this case is bananas. Those LDS caps are a weird bunch. Yes. Also says, oh, double. Okay, got it. Let's continue playing the video.
Footage from January 2019. Just a few months later, he was shot and killed by Lori's brother, Alex Cox, who at the time claimed self-defense. That's what started the investigation and the emails pouring in to detectives. Alex died in December 2019, but Lori is now facing a charge of conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in Charles's death. Charles' sister Kay Woodcock wrote into detectives several times and helped officers track down information because she was worried about JJ's safety.
He's acting like that my son was in danger. I've been worried about JJ's safety and things.
But it wasn't just Kay.
You heard that lady that's next to her? Shh. Like, who's that? I don't think that's her lawyer. Whoever that is, we gotta find out, because obviously they know something, and I'm pretty sure they're still alive.
Writing in. It was other family members. One of Lori's sisters-in-law wrote in explaining Lori's odd behavior months leading up to Charles's death. It said, Lori and Alex both think they are immortal beings. This is like a cult. Another photo found by investigators claims Alex was from multiple creations and his
Alex is Lori's brother. He's the one that killed her husband, claiming self-defense.
His mission is to help Lori. Another anonymous email sent in to detectives explained Lori and Chad's way of thinking. It says Lori has been on 21 planets and Chad 31, and once he was a Holy Ghost.
Dude, a few years ago, me and my friends were being silly, and we used to say stuff like that. But that was because we were really into like 2012, and then like the timing was just kind of weird. We were into like the law of attraction and I don't know what else, like stuff like that. So we would say things like, oh, I'm queen of the 12th dimension, and we would just joke around like that with each other. We never actually meant that stuff. You know, whenever you start like getting into end of time education, if you will, things kind of like, you start to see the world a little bit differently. And I don't want to say that I understand what she's saying, but because we used to talk like that, but we didn't mean it, you know? I didn't actually think that I was like queen of another planet. It's just like all the stuff that other people were saying, and it was just like, oh yeah, like that's silly, and we would laugh and joke and stuff like that. But no, these people like really meant it. They were saying things like that the kids were turning into zombies and that they needed to be basically put down. I want to say that that's probably going to be not their defense, but if they keep talking like that, as it is, Lori Vallow is found incompetent to stand trial, and I bet you that's because she's saying crazy stuff like, I'm whatever the hell they just said, I've been on a million planets, and I'm this all-powerful being, and whoever is giving her these exams are probably like, yeah, she's crazy, and they just are saying that she is incompetent to stand trial, and therefore she has yet to, she's been charged, but I don't know when she's gonna stand trial, if ever, if she keeps talking like this. I think she knows what she's doing. I think she planned everything perfectly. I think she set her brother up to kill her husband. I think her husband, this new guy, her new husband, Chad Daybell, he also knows, he knew what he was doing. He hasn't been found incompetent, though. I really wish I could find out exactly how those exams work so that I could decide like what I feel is happening in the background. Emmanuel Brick says, if the case is going to be in Utah, she'll get a lot of heavy support from the LDS Church. As a matter of fact, the cops that went in that body cam footage that we just saw were part LDS. That's why nobody said like, what's that? You know, like, can you clarify that? They were like, oh, we're LDS, and then the cop was just like, oh, okay, like, I get you. So yeah, that's gonna be difficult.
This tipster also said Lori told a friend that she couldn't wait to have sex with Chad, and when she was with Chad, they would be having it 3 times a day. They also said Lori and Chad,
I don't want to know that. Just saying. I don't need to know that. The fuck?
would get up early to walk the track at BYU, Idaho together, holding hands and kissing. When Chad's wife became suspicious,
holding hands and kissing, I don't want to know that either.
Chad said she turned into a zombie, and then she suddenly...
See what I mean? She turned into a zombie. In other words, the way I see it is she wasn't buying whatever he was selling, and he was just like, what? You're not submitting to what I want? You're a zombie! And that's where it went downhill.
Died in her sleep. Chad is now charged for her murder. And those are just a few of the emails in that document dump from Chandler Police. There are also emails from JJ's school here in the Valley, as well as maps showing how investigators located JJ and Tylee's bodies in Chad's backyard. Nicole?
Yeah, so many twists and turns in this, Kim. What's next?
Yeah, right now Lori is in a state hospital getting mental health treatment after she was deemed incompetent to stand trial, so she'll be there for no more than 90 days. As for Chad Daybell, the clock is ticking for prosecutors to decide if they'll seek the death penalty in his case. They have until the second week of August.
So then Way says these motherfuckers lost their marbles. See, that's the thing. I always hesitate to say like they're crazy because I feel like I'm helping them, you know, with their supposed incompetency. There's got to be another way, you know. They're faking crazy because they're not actually crazy. They know what they're doing, but they are crazy because who the fuck would do something like that? But we can't say crazy because in the court of law, that doesn't get you a trial. You know what I mean? Alright. Okay. Oh, well, I hope my headphones don't give out because I don't feel like being plugged in anymore. But if my headphones do that bloop, bloop, bloop sound, I will connect them back because we're not done here. Okay, so that was that clip. Go ahead and remove that. So now we're going to have another Lori Vallow update. Let's see what this one's about. It's called Lori Vallow Daybell Case, a breakdown of evidence and 2,500 emails released by Chandler Police. This was posted July 29th and courtesy of 12 News. Emmanuel Briggs says, they're definitely batshit crazy, but I also have no problems watching them fry in the electric chair, crazy or not. True. Too many people passed away. I still wonder what really happened to Alex Cox. I don't even think, they said natural causes. I think that's the only thing I've ever heard about how he passed away. And then Chad's wife, they said that she passed away, I think, in her sleep, but then they exhumed her body, retested her, and now they're charging him with her death. I'm not too sure what they found different. But that's all. Those are all just little details that I want to know more about. So I'm telling you, one of these days I'm gonna really just hunker down and I'm gonna have, you know, meal preps, and I'm gonna schedule time with the dogs, so because I have to have my time with my little dudes. I don't know, or my little dude and my little girl over there. Sometimes you might hear her shaking. She's a big old lab, so when she shakes, it's like she makes a big old sound. She's so cute. I love her. Yes, but one of these days I am gonna present something. Hey Jinxie, how you doing? I'm guessing you're a girl because the picture is a girl. So I want to say, hello, gorgeous. Let me know if I have the wrong idea there. All right, so yeah, I think I already announced this clip, so let's watch it.
Recently uncovered pictures of JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan, including photos from when the kids were last seen alive.
It's all part of the multi-state investigation into their mother, Lori Vallow Daybell, accused of killing her 2 kids and conspiring to kill her late husband.
The I-Team's Erica Stapleton reviewed thousands of pages of evidence and joins us now with more. Erica?
Chandler police releasing more than 2,500 emails, some showing how people raised red flags early on that Lori Vallow Daybell could be a threat to her family.
Lost her mind. I don't know how to say it.
In January 2019, Charles Vallow told Gilbert police his then-wife Lori's doomsday religious beliefs were darkening.
She said, "You're not Charles. I don't know who you are, what you did with Charles, but I can murder you now with my powers."
And that he and their kids, Tylee and JJ, could be in danger.
I don't know what she's going to do with them. I don't know if she's going to flee with them, she's going to hurt them.
Now emails show that Charles shared these concerns with JJ's school leaders in Gilbert too, noting he had to file an order of protection against his wife. At that point, in February 2019, the school told police they filed a report with Child Services to, quote, ensure we were doing our due diligence in protecting JJ. Later emails from the FBI say DCS had an open case with the family. DCS refused to answer the I-Team's questions about their involvement.
911, where is your emergency?
Less than 6 months later, in July, Lori's brother, Alex Cox, shot and killed Charles, according to Chandler police.
Is he hurt or is he alive? Yeah, there's blood. He's not moving.
The emails now reveal that before his death, Charles reportedly told another relative that, quote, I think her and Alex are going to kill me, and that after his death, multiple tipsters told the FBI that Lori and Alex were responsible for killing Charles. Charles's sister, who is JJ's biological grandmother, shared her suspicions about Lori with police in the weeks following Charles's death, saying she was worried JJ wasn't safe with her. She shared messages from Lori in August 2019, telling her JJ couldn't stay with them and that she was moving the kids to Hawaii. But that was a lie. Lori would move the kids from Arizona to Idaho in September 2019. They'd disappear before the end of the month, and she'd marry Rexburg doomsday author Chad Daybell by November. The kids were found buried in Chad's backyard in June 2020.
State of Idaho versus Lori Noreen Vallow.
In Idaho, Lori and Chad are both facing first-degree murder charges in the kids' deaths, and additional charges connected to Chad's first wife Tammy's death. Lori is also facing a charge in Arizona for conspiring to kill Charles. Alex Cox can't face any potential charges because he died at his home in Gilbert, reportedly of natural causes.
Chad's... See what I mean? They just keep saying of natural causes. Like, what do you mean? Did he have a stroke? Did he have a heart attack? He's a young man. I mean, maybe not a young man, like college student age or whatever, but he's not an old grandpa age kind of guy. You don't just die of natural causes unless something happened. They never reveal what exactly he died from. So I find that very suspicious. Emmanuel Briggs says it just seems like the LDS is working some type of cover-up in this case, and it got too big for them to continue. I mean, somebody was giving them those crazy ideas about people turning into zombies, and the 144,000 and the rapture. That's all Bible stuff, you know. I know that Chad had a podcast or something like that talking about the end times and things like that. It could just be all him, but even then, like, nah, they're part of a church, and everybody keeps, you know, calling it a church, but it was a cult. I have a really hard time with, like, groups of people that are religious. I want to call them a cult, but that's inappropriate to say that, like, to their face, you know what I mean? You know that's gonna start an argument. I'm just saying. All right, so yeah, let's continue. Let's finish this clip.
This trial is scheduled for later this year while Lori is under mental health evaluation.
Over and over and over again. But once that goes to trial, I'm really hoping it will be televised, because I will sit through it, and I hope that you will join me, because we've been following this case for some time, and I want to see it through. All right. Jinxie says they could have at least oops, where'd you go? They could have at least specified his cause of death. They could have been suicide or something else. Suicide wouldn't have been natural causes. I think they would have called it suicide. But maybe I'm wrong. Manuel Briggs says it's a cult. You know? It's just, you know, whenever I meet somebody that are religious like that, and they're part of a group, they tend to have that join us kind of vibe, and I'm like, cult, gotta go. You know, my spirituality comes from within, and it's very rare if you ever hear me talk about my beliefs, because I have theories for the most part, and my experiences are personal, so I just keep all that to myself. It's very rare when I'll be in a conversation about spirituality, religion, who created the world, you know, is the rapture real, like that kind of stuff. That I always keep that stuff to myself. If I ever do find myself in a conversation like that, I'm usually asking questions. I very rarely talk about, like, my personal beliefs, because it's just it's one of those hot button issues that turns into a heated discussion, because nobody ever wants to be open-minded and perhaps say, like, oh, maybe you're right, you know, I used to see it this way, but I kind of see, like, your point. Nobody ever does that. Most people have their beliefs, they stick their heels into them, and if you don't go along, it gets ugly. I've seen it happen way too many times. Jinxie says they kind of are. I agree. And Emmanuel Briggs says, I tell them oh my god, I'm a horny, perverted atheist, and I drink too much, and I like to cuss usually. They leave me alone after that. I'm not any of those things, of course, but it works. That's how to get rid of somebody. You're too funny. Alright, let's continue. We've got one more clip about the Lori Vallow case. This is called Idaho Law Expert Explains Why Some Charges Against Vallow Daybell May Have Been Dismissed. I need to let my dogs out, but I'm gonna let this play, and I'm gonna stick around, because there was something about this clip that kind of, like, took me, like, by surprise, and I wanted to discuss it with you all. This was posted today, and courtesy of KSL News.
Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell are off the hook for some charges in the deaths of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow.
The prosecution's move to dismiss the charges surprised many. Well, news specialist Garna Mejia is looking into this latest development. And Garna, any idea why prosecutors are doing this?
Yeah, good evening, you guys. And that's a great question. Without hearing from prosecutors, it's hard to know. But we did speak with a distinguished law expert who tells us that it could be a number of reasons. Most commonly, though, the strategy has to do with any of three reasons: simplification, evidence, or negotiations.
Prosecutors are dropping charges of concealing, altering, or destroying evidence against Chad Daybell and the conspiracy to do so for Lori Vallow Daybell in the deaths of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. But they're sticking with the murder charges, including the death of Tammy Daybell, against the couple.
Carries with it the potential penalty of death or life imprisonment.
Plus, Lori is still facing felony charges for deserting her children.
It's a confusing case. It's easy for juries to get distracted.
Distinguished professor of law at the University of Idaho, Richard Seaman, says the move may be an effort by prosecutors to streamline the process and keep a jury focused on what could be a capital punishment case.
There are cases where the prosecutor doesn't want to give the jury an out by kind of taking the lesser charges off the table and only presenting that one charge to the jury. The prosecutor boxes the jury in a little bit.
Seaman says it's also common for prosecutors to drop charges when evidence comes into question.
If the prosecutor has some doubt about the admissibility of the evidence or the credibility of some witness she plans to put on in support of a charge, then she may end up dropping the charge.
And yet another reason could be that prosecutors are negotiating with the defense.
So the defendant may, for example, say, well, I won't contest the evidence that you have of this particular charge if you drop this other charge. And that may very well be a wise move.
That very well may be a wise move for who? That's where they cut him off. And that's what created a strong reaction in me when I first heard that. Because they were like, yeah, they're making deals with prosecution, but who is it benefiting? If they're dropping charges, why are we helping child murderers and wife killers and husband killers? This is crazy. Lori had a smile on her face. People are crazy. Seriously, Jinxie. On this channel, we see all kinds of crazy people. But yeah, that kind of bothered me. I was just like, we're really helping out Lori now. I mean, as it is, she's mentally incompetent. This is insane. I really wish that it was just a clear-cut case, but I'm guessing they just don't have all of the evidence. If you all were here when we were covering Samantha Josephson's murder trial, when Nathaniel Rowland was being accused for her murder, I saw a clip after they had released the verdict and Nathaniel had been sentenced, and they asked the prosecution why wasn't the death penalty sought out in that case. They went with life in prison. And long story short, prosecution said something like, we took a look at the evidence that we had and we felt that life in prison would have been appropriate. And I said, yeah, also known as, we took a look at the evidence and we didn't have enough evidence to seek the death penalty, because in reality they didn't have him on tape at all. You know, none of the surveillance cameras that they had showed his face. Even when he was using the debit card and trying it a bunch of times, he was completely covered. He was like this, like you couldn't see his face. When he picked up Samantha Josephson, it was too dark. They couldn't see his face. You know, nobody caught him in the act. On top of that, there was also doubt because there was old beer cans and cigarette butts around the area. So defense was trying to say that maybe somebody else did it, but it was Nathaniel Rowland. It was his car. His car had blood. His car had an envelope with an address on it. They went to the address. There was, you know, cleaning supplies with blood and you know, where he was trying to clean up. Even his living girlfriend said that she saw the blood. and stuff, but they never really like had him dead to rights that, you know, he did it. So that's why they didn't seek the death penalty. So in this case, it's going to be something like that. It's going to be something similar. They don't have Lori Vallow on tape doing it or admitting to it. It could still be that somebody else did it, even though we know it was her and Chad Daybell. So that's how evidence works, and that's how the system works. Emmanuel Brick says they're definitely cutting deals, and deals you wouldn't normally cut. It's the LDS influence. That sucks. That's really discouraging, because the children did not deserve to live a short life like that. It was really unfair. Okay, let's continue watching the rest of this clip, and then we'll move on. It's frozen.
Now, we reached out to prosecutors and did not hear back. There is currently a stay in Lori Vallow's case pending that psychological treatment. But in Chad Daybell's case, prosecutors have until August 9th to decide if they will pursue the death penalty. I'm Garna Mejia, KSL 5 News.
That is a dark case. Garna, thank you.
I know, I'm muted, I'm sorry. I was going to say that is a dark case. And if they do a movie, well, they are going to do a movie. I know that they are. I hope I'm able to grab it so we can watch it offline or whatever. Because that's something I'm going to want to see. And I have a feeling they're going to leave a bunch of stuff out. But I'll still watch the movie. And at this point, I'm kind of hoping somebody writes a book with all of the information on it. Just so that I know that I didn't miss anything. Because there's a lot to this. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and leave the Lori Vallow situation and move on to this other crazy clip that I saw. Actually, I don't even think I saw it. I want to say that the headline was enough to get me to add it to the playlist. It's called Trial for Killer Clown Case, Suspect Pushed Back to 2022. I've never heard of this case, but when I saw Killer Clown on the title, I knew that I wanted to know more. This was posted July 30th of 2021 and courtesy of WJHL, and I already know I'm going to need to get updates for this case, so I'm going to put it to watch later, and let's see what's going on.
New details this afternoon in the Killer Clown case. The trial of Sheila Keene Warren, the Southwest Virginia woman accused of killing another woman while dressed as a clown, has been pushed back to 2022. She's been in jail in Florida for more than 3 years awaiting trial for first-degree murder. Prosecutors said Keene Warren shot and killed Marlene Warren at her Wellington home in 1990. Sheila Keene Warren later went on to marry the victim's husband.
1990? That's crazy. Yeah, I need to find out more about this.
She was scheduled to appear in a jury trial starting September 8th. That has now been moved to March 21st.
Yeah, because I guess that's all the information we need, right? A 32-second clip. Oh, I tell you, the news is funny. And yes, I'm going to say that to watch later just in case. That didn't add the first time. Alright, let's go ahead and remove from playlist and continue on. We have 2 more clips. Now I'm going to play this next clip, and then I'm going to play the next one after that. It's 14 minutes long. I need to take my dogs out, so I'll do that at that time. But again, I'll be listening on my headphones so that I know what's going on. But let's first watch this clip. Oh yeah, I found this one today.
We'll start.
It was very heartbreaking to picture, because that's what I do. Whenever I hear something, when I talk to somebody about things, I tend to picture them in my head, and before you know it, I'm getting like sympathy pains and stuff. And this story, yeah. Oh, I left the discretion, what is this thing called? I'm always forgetting, and then I always remember when I'm offline, but for some reason, it'll come to me. I forgot the word. Anyways, let's watch the clip and hopefully I'll remember what the word is. It's not an advisory. I know it's another word. Anyways, police. Woman found dead inside car at St. Pete Cemetery. Her children were found terrified inside. This was posted August 1st and courtesy of 10 Tampa Bay.
Start with this. A young mother is dead, and St. Pete police, they are still looking
Disclaimer.
for who shot her. They say that the 27-year-old was found dead inside of her car near the Woodlawn Memorial Gardens on 60th Street South. Her 2 children were also inside that car. Now, they were not hurt, but officers say when they found them, they were, quote, terrified. St. Pete police, they want to hear from you if you know anything now about this case.
Okay, so yeah, that's really sad. Obviously, the kids saw something. I don't know how old they are. Hopefully, they can describe a suspect. They're just little kids, though. There's really not much we can ask of them. They're traumatized. They're scared. They're very vulnerable. They saw their mom get shot and killed right before their very eyes. That's something nobody should go through ever. But when you think about a little kid having that experience so early on in life, you know, that's life-changing. You're going to see the world in a totally different way. I hope they're okay now. I hope they're with people that love and care about them. I hope they know that they're loved. And I hope they get all the therapy that they need. I don't even know if that's going to help in reality, because I can't even imagine witnessing something like that as an adult, much less a child. But we definitely need to find out what happened. We need to know more. So I will save that to my watch later. And then we're going to go ahead and remove that from the playlist. And then we're going to watch this clip. And then after that, we're going to move on to talk about sinkholes. Yes, sinkholes. So let's watch this clip. It's 14 minutes long. It's called "A Family in Mourning Wants Justice for Their Daughter." However, this is not just about one person passing away. It looks like they might have a serial killer on their hands in this town. Let me know what you think. This was posted today and courtesy of Inside Edition. So I'm gonna go take my dogs out real quick, but I'm listening on the headphones, and I'll be keeping an eye on the chat as well.
It's not easy. I try to be strong for everybody, but I still don't know exactly when my child died.
This is a story about unsolved crimes and a family's quest for justice.
This is the breakdown from Inside Edition Digital. We're sharing the story behind the story.
My name is Caitlin Nolan, and I'm the managing editor of Inside Edition Digital.
We begin with breaking news.
A woman's body was found inside the abandoned home.
A second body was found a few hundred feet away in a trash can.
Neighbors are starting to think the worst after a third body was found over the weekend.
They were murdered.
Someone had cut her hair.
We have no death certificate, no cause of death.
We should know something by now.
Does anybody care? Does anybody give a damn?
We sit here every day wondering, how'd she die?
In 2018, I was a senior reporter for the team, and on a normal day in the office, I came across a story about the death of a woman who several weeks prior had spoken on camera about 2 other women who had died in the same area. There hadn't been much national coverage about the cases. There was very little in the way of information, and so my editors and I decided that this was something that we should look into. In 2017, the bodies of 3 women were found within a 4-block radius, 2 on the same day, and the third 6 weeks later, in an area called Lumberton in North Carolina. The first 2 women whose bodies were found were named Christina Bennett, she also went by Kristen, and Rhonda Jones. Christina's body was found inside a home, inside a cabinet, and Rhonda's body was found outside the home in a trash can. Megan Oxendine spoke on camera to a local news reporter about Rhonda, about how she knew Rhonda and that she was a nice woman. She never really messed with anyone. She didn't understand how someone could do this to a person. And 6 weeks later, Megan's body was found. She was found several.
That's crazy. This is about the time that I stopped watching this, because I was already like, whoa, this is only 2 minutes in. There's 14 minutes of this clip, which is rare. They usually aren't this long, so you know it's going to be a wild story. But this woman was on the news. The reporter was asking her questions about a couple of recent murders, and then 6 weeks later, she mysteriously is murdered. What happened? What is going on? What kind of town is this? This is crazy.
Several blocks away, underneath a tree by another abandoned home. It was decided that in 2018, it was about a year after.
Next to another abandoned home, she said. So there's a lot of abandoned homes in this area, and I know what happens in abandoned homes. You know, shady characters like to hang out around abandoned homes, but that's just crazy to me, to think that there's all these women being killed. But that part about the one woman that was on the news talking about it, and then she turns up killed. I'm scared. I don't even live in this town, and I'm scared.
The deaths had occurred, that I was going to go down to Lumberton to interview the families in person and see the place where this all occurred. The families were really gracious and grateful that we wanted to tell their loved ones' stories. They welcomed us in with open arms. They extended every single courtesy that they could, and really showed such a strength to be able to sit there for basically an entire day and talk through what their loved ones had gone through and what they went through when they learned that they had been killed and what's happened since. I spent a day with each of the families that agreed to speak with me, and also attended a vigil that was held around the year anniversary mark of the initial discoveries of Rhonda and Christina. The vigil was attended by local residents as well as family members of those who had been lost. And it was both to mark the very grim anniversary, but to also celebrate their lives.
Oh, you wanna let them go? Let them go. At this time, I want to say again, thank you to everybody who came. We appreciate this a lot.
I wanted to share with you some more from our initial report in Lumberton in 2018.
You just don't know what to believe. The police or anybody hasn't come to us and cleared any of it up to make it any better for us,
It really amazes me that the FBI has now stepped in offering this $30,000 reward. I think it's an awesome thing, but they just would not talk to you. They wouldn't give any information out, and just even the basic who, what, where, when, and whys.
We don't have an autopsy report.
We have no death certificate, no cause of death.
They don't have a cause of death? That's very mysterious, but what's happening with law enforcement in the town? With the coroner in the town, the medical examiner, the kinds of people that we usually hear about in these cases that have something to say, they got nothing to say.
We will probably never know exactly when my child even died. We do not even have a police report. It's been a year.
The public knows as much as we do. The fact that we sit here every day wondering, how'd she die? When did she die? Who did it, of course, is important, but to us, knowing what she might have went through.
I'm starting to wonder if it isn't a police officer that's doing this. Jinxie says that's a bit shady, yeah. Emmanuel Briggs says that's crazy. How do you not have a cause of death? Right. That's right up there with Alex Cox dying of natural causes at like 40-something years old or something like that.
It's really important to us. Rhonda would not in any kind of way have ever even touched that trash can. Never mind put herself in that trash can. One of the things we wondered, did she hurt? Whoever did it, did they hurt her? Because that would be the hardest thing if they hurt her, Somebody knows what happened to Rhonda and when it happened and how it happened. That's what we are praying for, that somebody just comes forward.
To this day, the cases remain unsolved. There has been no arrests made in the cases. They actually have still only been deemed as suspicious, not criminal. And though the FBI is involved, though the FBI has interviewed hundreds of people at this point, there have never been any suspects identified or persons of interest formally identified in the case, which is a huge source of stress and, frankly, pain for the families of the 3 women. So recently, I had a chance to catch up with Rhonda's family, with her sister and her mother, to see how they...
Okay, I had to let my other dog out. Jinxie says, I mean, maybe they're holding that, though, for questioning the suspects to try and catch the person in a lie, considering nobody would know the cause of death, only the suspect. It could be. I just think that if the coroner or the medical examiner, whoever they have there in that town, viewed the body and examined it, they would have to file a report. I don't think that they could just do all that and then, you know, keep the report to themselves or just give it to the cops. I mean, there has to be some kind of system. I don't know what kind of town this is. For all we know, it's like a tiny little town where everybody knows each other, or most people know each other, and they could do something like that. But like, in most cases, that would be, I think, highly inappropriate. I don't know what everybody else thinks. Let me know.
They've been doing since we had last spoken, as well as what's been going on in Lumberton since we last visited. We first spoke a year after Rhonda's death, and now we're 4 years on from her passing. What do you want people to know has continued, persisted in the last 4 years, and what has changed in the last 4 years?
The fact that, you know, we feel like she's basically forgotten, like they don't care. No family should have to go through this. It's bad enough to lose somebody you love, but no family should have to go through feeling like their family member has just been pushed off to the side. The folder's been closed. The case is just, it's over. It feels like, you know, like it feels like nobody.
Jinxie says, yeah, that sounds like the most normal way to go about it. It was just a thought. Yeah, for sure, it's a valid thought. You know, I imagined something like that happening. It could very well happen. Maybe it is some kind of strategy. Emmanuel says, all of this sounds very fishy. It does. It's definitely odd.
Nobody cares.
I guess my main word would be frustrated, disappointed.
Yeah, that's about the point I'm at. Frustrated. Just when it comes to that whole situation, mentally drained.
For people who maybe haven't been following the story since it was last published on our site and the case, why are you frustrated and why are you drained?
Because Sunday's going to be 4 years. I still don't know exactly when my child died. I don't know where she died. All I know, my child was found in a city trash can upside down naked on April the 18th of 2000.
She was naked. I mean, I don't know the conditions of her body, but I would think that by now they would at least know if she was molested. That's something that I think they would be able to tell. I don't know why there's not a report. It is weird.
17. That's all I know.
You know, we've asked multiple questions many times and don't get much of a response.
Can you talk a bit about what you've been doing, not only to try and get justice for Rhonda, but also for the many other people who have gone missing or have been found dead in Lumberton and Robeson County?
Well, we started a group called Share the Silence, and we do marches, Squad of Murdered and Missing. We try to visit some of them. We have tried to fight for justice with everything we've got. Me and Sherlin's went above and beyond, even not only trying to help with Rhonda's murder, but trying to help with all the murdered and missing.
And we hope with this group that people will, you know, see what we're doing and start talking. It
It brings awareness to how many people are going through the same thing we are. And we want people to understand that we understand what they're going through. And we want the same thing they want.
Manuel Briggs said there's got to be some kind of cover-up. You found a naked body, a naked halfway out of the trash can. Who would kill themselves like that? I swear, if they end up saying natural causes, I'm done. That's pretty much the vibe I'm getting right now. That's right. You know, somebody obviously did something to her. They should know something. You know, if you did an exam on her in real life, you would know, how was she choked, was she poisoned, was she, like I said, molested, something. And no one's saying anything. That's just so suspicious and creepy. I don't want to live in that town after hearing this story. Do you?
Prior to Rhonda's death, had you been involved at all in this kind of advocacy work?
No.
So
no, because me personally, I never knew how bad this hurt.
Right. I had no idea. I mean, you don't think about how many other families are dealing with this, in the same situation we are until it happens to your family. You don't realize the severity of it.
It must be so difficult to both carry the weight of mourning Rhonda while also trying to fight for all of these other families and deal with questions like that. How do you do it, and how have you been doing it for years at this point?
The grace of God. That's exactly what it is. The grace of God. That's the only thing that keeps us going.
It's not easy.
Not at all.
There's days when I just have to take a break.
These families are always on my mind, like when I'm looking at stuff about Rhonda, I think about, so-and-so's dealing with this, or, so-and-so's, posted a picture of their child today, things like that. Like it's like a part of our everyday life now.
And Miss Caitlin, I had asked somebody the other day, I said, do you think Rhonda's proud of me? And they said, well, yes, Miss Sheila, I've never seen a mother fight like you.
That's heartbreaking.
And it's not that I want to fight this fight, that's for sure.
So this year, on the anniversary of the discovery of Rhonda's body, as well as Christina's body, there was another vigil held at the same park that we went to several years ago to mark the anniversary yet again. And again, it's the repetition of having to talk about the hardest time in their lives and what's gone on since, all to continue to try and bring some attention and some spotlight onto these cases in the effort that someone somewhere who knows something will finally come forward and say, here's some information that might help solve the cases. I can't imagine how much strength it takes to continue to revisit the most difficult, painful time in a person's life, losing a loved one, especially to violence. And yet Sheila and Sherlyn continue to do so in the effort to bring awareness to their daughter and their sister's case, as well as the cases of so many other people who have either gone missing or have fallen victim to violence in Robeson County.
I want people to know that Rhonda was a mother, she was a daughter, she was my best friend, my sister, the one that I called on when I needed something, Rhonda was a college graduate. Rhonda had a high education. Rhonda was so much more than what people thought she was. It sucks. It's hard just to think about everything that she was, that somebody didn't care enough to think, who she was. They just took all that from us, in a matter of seconds. It has changed our whole life. I was just talking to my son earlier, Caitlin. I know this completely off what we're talking about, but we got to talking about perfume. And I told him, I said, one thing I miss about Rhonda is how she smelled. That's something I can't get over. I can't smell her. And I was looking, and we found a perfume that she used to wear all the time on Amazon. I'm going to order some just so, you know, I can be able to smell it and remember, because I don't want to ever forget that.
So the FBI has increased its reward for information in the deaths of Christina, Rhonda, and Megan from $30,000 to $40,000 this year. When I spoke with a special agent at the FBI, they said that people in the area should think back to 4 years ago. Did someone you know begin acting differently? Is it possible that they maybe changed their normal habits? Maybe they mentioned something that just wasn't taken seriously at the time. Think back to it. And if there's anything that stands out to you, to reach out to the FBI's Charlotte field office with that information, because no tip is too small. Awareness of these cases and the potential for a break in them is impossible without people watching stories like this and sharing these stories. So thank you very much for considering the cases and giving them the attention that they deserve.
This is
See what I mean? It is very important to talk about cases like this. I'm sorry, I'm choked up. That was really heartbreaking. That really got to me. That part where she said that she was gonna buy the that perfume that she would use because it would remind her of her. That's so sad. I you know, you don't have to be in somebody's shoes in order to relate. You could just, sometimes you really can just imagine. Sometimes I can't imagine, but sometimes I can. You know what I mean? I've lost people in my life, not mysteriously like that, but I definitely know what it's like to miss how somebody smelled, or, you know, how I would feel being around somebody and they're just not there anymore. And in her case, just not even knowing how she passed away, who did it, you know, do the police, are they even doing their job? That was crazy. I'm definitely going to save this, and I'm going to try to find more information on it and keep up to date with it if I can, because this can't be the end of it. There has to be more. Jinxie did say moving to that town wouldn't even be the last place I'd move to if I had to. I'd rather die from natural causes. I mean, imagine them. Like, if I were them, I wouldn't even trust going outside, stepping outside, because I wouldn't even know if I could trust police, since they're not really doing anything. And even though FBI is involved, it doesn't sound like they're pressuring anybody to do anything. So, yeah. We'll definitely revisit that if I could find new clips about it. That was really sad. Alright, let me stop screen because we're done with that playlist, but we're not done here. We're going to move on to sinkholes. And why? Because I find them very interesting. That's why. Alright, real quick before we move on, Emmanuel Brake says, this is exactly why I have a belt knife and a credit card knife. Maybe I should invest on that brush dagger. Maybe it's not such a crazy idea to have a brush in my makeup bag or whatever. Just be like, oh yeah, let me give you my money, and then just like, just shank a bitch real quick. This is a crazy world we live in, where we need brush shank knives. I'm just saying. This is wild. Alright, unless anybody has anything to say, I thought Preach was gonna join panel. Nobody go anywhere. I'm gonna go ahead and just switch over to my Be Right Back screen. I'm just gonna call Preach real quick and see if he still wants to jump up on panel. I hope he's okay. I kind of want to make sure he's okay, because he did say he was gonna join us, so I just want to make sure. So let me stop screen sharing and then share my Be Right Back screen. This won't take long, maybe like a minute or two. I just want to make sure he's okay and find out if he wants to come up. said I needed to call Preach to see if he was gonna join the chat. Alright, I guess I lost a few people. Sorry. I thought I was clear on that. I was just gonna call Preach to make sure he was okay and ask him if he wanted to join panel. But I'm still here. Emmanuel Briggs, I hope you're still here because we're gonna cover sinkholes. I'm pretty sure I said that we were gonna do that next, but alright. They dipped. Yeah, they did. They were just like, bye. And it even says, be right back on the screen. Okay, look. Things happen. Maybe I should have been more clear. Alright, so, okay, so Preach said he would try to join us later, perhaps, but he was going to watch. So we are going to keep going. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and cover sinkholes, because I'm very interested in sinkholes. I might need to let my dog back in, but she's chilling outside. They're good. She's good. Alright, so the first was Preach okay? Yes, he's okay. He had a big meal and slipped into a food coma. It happens. It happens to me. So I was just like, okay, that's fine. I just wanted to make sure you're okay. And he said he was doing good, but he just needed some time. So we're going to start. Some of these clips are new. Some of them are not new. I just kind of, yeah, no nonsense Stucky, I think. Hopefully, you know, people will come back once they realize that I'm still alive. You never know. Yeah, but we're still here, and I appreciate you all for sticking around. But yeah, so some of these clips are events that happened recently. Some of them I added them because they're more educational than anything. But there shouldn't be anything too devastating, too sad. I don't think anybody lost their life or anything like that in any of these clips. It's pretty much going to be more educational more than anything. So let's start with the beginning. And this first one is called Drone Footage Shows Giant Sinkhole in Germantown After Deadly Floods. And this is courtesy of Guardian News, and this was actually posted recently, July 16, 2021. So yeah, let's watch. What's going on? Alright, I'm not hearing anything. Are you? What's happening? Alright, I'm not hearing anything. Let me know if you guys heard anything there. Let me stop screen and share again. Yeah, I'm not hearing anything. That's pretty crazy. Maybe I should... No sound. Yeah, I'm not even getting sound. I don't know what happened there. This is what happens when I start over. Let's try doing this. Or you know what? Oh, this video doesn't have sound. It's one of those like, what do you call it? Those raw footage videos. I broke it. That's what I thought too. I didn't break it. It's a stupid video. It doesn't have sound. Alright, so yes, I'll just talk through it because I went forward and there was sound. It wasn't me, okay? Alright, so yes, let's watch. Alright, so a couple of weeks ago there was some major flooding in Germany. I think I covered it. And I remember Preach was saying that I was very suspicious that government agencies weren't boots on the ground assisting the people. It seemed to be more of the people that were cleaning things up and everything. I don't know how they do things in Germany. Maybe that's normal. But yes, I can see here where there's just a lot of destruction. See, there's sound. It wasn't me. So I was looking for a sinkhole. Alright, in his language, he says, you build up everything here, and suddenly everything is destroyed. It's terrible.
Vom Fußball her ist es halt mein alter
That was my
Jugendtrainer
old
gewesen
soccer
vor
coach
10 Jahren.
10 years ago.
Und
And his
ja,
house
das Haus
is,
ist, sehen Sie ja, es ist ein
you can
riesen
see
Krater,
it.
Haus ist weg.
There's a huge crater.
Ja, es ist einfach schlimm, wirklich.
This is just bad. That's crazy. Usually you expect sinkholes to be holes, but that was
To a
just
developing
lot of
story.
destruction. Let me see. Manual breaks. The sinkholes are sending us a warning. They're gonna mess with my live stream. Alright, let's go ahead and remove that from the playlist and continue with the next clip. This was from July 15, so this is still pretty recently. This is large sinkhole opens up on the Upper East Side, and this is courtesy of CBS New York.
Story now on the Upper East Side, where a large sinkhole opened up.
The road caved in this morning, and crews are still working on repairs and trying to figure out how it happened. CBS 2's Andrea Grimes is live at the scene with the latest. Andrea.
Well, Dick and Christine, the good news is that no one was injured. The bad news is it is a huge mess here on the Upper East Side with crews working, as you can see behind me, and there's a pause in the sound right now, but the construction has been going on all day as the City Department of Environmental Protection tries to figure out exactly how this happened. You get a real sense of how large this sinkhole is when you see men inside and around it. The one-way street turned into a massive construction site after the pavement gave way around 8:30 this morning.
Looks like a horror movie. It's quite the pit. It's like 10 feet deep.
James Watson lives in one of two buildings that lost water for a few hours as a result. Here on East 89th Street between York and East End Avenues on the Upper East Side. The fire department says the initial sinkhole was 8 feet by 8 feet. Luckily, no one was injured and no cars were damaged.
It was like very quiet street, nothing, and then you come here today and there's a million people.
So this came out of nowhere, this sinkhole?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
It was a little surprising, and it's actually pretty deep because when I came in, that the entire arm of the crane actually went all the way in.
This sinkhole comes just days after this one on the Upper West Side.
That's a
On
baby
Sunday,
sinkhole.
it partially swallowed 2 cars on Riverside Drive and West 97th Street. Despite both incidents, the City Department of Environmental Protection notes roadway cave-ins are actually down 25%. Still, Upper East Side Councilman Ben Kalos is concerned.
We need the Department of
He's a politician. Don't believe anything he says. Just kidding.
Environmental Protection, which manages our water supply, Con Ed, working together to find any leaks underground, making sure that we're not having any compromised spaces, and make sure that this doesn't happen again.
And back out here live, take a look at this. The City Department of Environmental Protection says the excavation here is being enlarged to examine even more underground infrastructure. Right now, there's about 5 men inside this hole here on the Upper East Side. The Con Edison says gas and electricity were not affected in all of this. But again, DEP says people who live around here can expect crews to be out here probably for the next several days as they make repairs and investigate a cause. Reporting live.
Her name is Andrea Grimes.
On the Upper East Side, Andrea Grimes, CBS 2 News.
All right, Andrea, thank you.
All right, Andrea. All right, Emmanuel Brick says, oh, hell no, down 25%. Who knew there was a yearly sinkhole percentage? I'm telling you, it's a serious situation. Makes you wonder what's happening underneath us. You gotta tread very carefully. This world's gonna just swallow up. I mean, it's gonna open up and just swallow us all up, and no one's even gonna know anything. This clip has 4,709 views. That's higher than the last one that I reported on, so maybe people are paying attention to the sinkhole issue, or maybe because it's in New York, maybe that's why it has a lot of views. That's still really not a lot of views, but for a news clip, that's kind of a lot of views. All right, let's go ahead and remove that. It's been a while. I'm pretty sure they're already done there and cleaned up everything. So it's good to know nobody fell in, no pets fell in. Everybody seems to be okay.
Once again,
All right, so now let's continue on. This was July 12th, so this is kind of scary. All of these clips are from like mid to late July. So I feel whoever said that all the sinkholes and all the other natural disasters that are happening kind of makes it feel like the world is ending. This is what happens when you see clips like this back to back. You get that vibe, like things are ending. All right, I am going to play this clip and I'm going to let Princess back in. So watch. Sinkhole nearly swallows Upper West Side cars. It might be the same sinkhole. This is courtesy of NBC New York, and I will be right back.
Storms once again drench our area. The city is taking action after a series of bizarre problems caused by the weather. One of them happened over the weekend. A giant sinkhole opened up on the Upper West Side, taking part of an SUV with it. And you certainly can't forget that. Rosendale is in Washington Heights right now with what the city's doing. Gus.
Yeah, Chuck, hard to forget that image of the guy trying to wade through the water. I think he was wearing a garbage bag at one point. At this point, in terms of the weather, the rain holding off right now. But as you mentioned, we've been tracking 2 incidents where rain from above has been causing trouble below the ground. Our first stop, this sinkhole at Riverside in 89th Street. We talked with a neighbor who was happy she moved her car shortly before the ground gave way.
I think I was very
He just said first sinkhole, right? Yeah.
lucky that I moved my car, and I hope this is the end of it.
Another neighbor says last week's storm brought down a tree Thursday, and he speculates its loosened root system, along with all that rushing water, eventually led this Upper West Side street to collapse and partially sink 2 cars Sunday. The Department of Environmental Protection and other city agencies on scene today, checking for any other drainage issues in the area.
From the Department of Transportation, he said that what happens is when the water comes, it kind of pushes the dirt. And, you know, it loosens it.
And who could forget this soggy subterranean saga? Flash flooding Thursday, turning subway stops like this one at 157th Street and Broadway into a sewer.
Hell no. There have been times where I thought about what it would be like to live in New York. I like to watch, just sharing a little bit about myself right now. I like to watch Sex and the City, Will and Grace, Friends, and I was like, New York seems like a pretty cool place to live until I started covering stories out of New York. And I'm pretty sure this is the same situation, but there was a clip that I saw on Instagram where there was a flooding happening in the subway system, and then I was recalling that they also have a mice problem there. And I just remember this poor woman having to walk through that. And then I said, never mind. I probably would use the subway system and stuff like that. Because I don't drive. That's something that I sometimes talk about on here, not really. But yeah, I don't drive. Like, I had a very traumatic childhood. And doing certain things that are high stress make me very, very nervous. And there's just certain things that I just won't do because they just have caused phobias, so I just don't do them. As it is, I'm pretty antisocial, so I don't really need to be driving anywhere anyways. Emmanuel Briggs says, I used to think the same thing, but between the giant rats and the sinkholes, I'll pass. And the crime there is crazy. Jinx says, yeah, no thanks. Yeah, for real. If it was like the TV shows, then sign me up. But real life is very different from TV shows and movies and stuff like that, for sure.
My stop, I thought, yeah, it looked like you needed a boat to go over there.
She says it looked like you needed a boat to get over there. Fuck that. And yeah, the giant rats. No, thank you.
MTA crews were here in Washington Heights today, setting up a temporary blockade across the street from where that flooding happened. They say this work is not directly linked to the flooding, but is part of ongoing maintenance at a station that has seen its 100th birthday come and go.
What did you think? You use those stairs all the time, I thought.
I'm like, I'm not going in that dirty water. That's it.
The MTA says flooding like this is highly unusual and drains away.
Hey, look at this guy! He's trying to be creative. He's gonna waddle through the water in a trash bag to protect his shoes and his jeans. I hope they stay on him. I want to see if he makes it.
Quickly.
These locations.
Nah, he looked like he was about to trip. That's probably why they switched it.
Locations that were hit the hardest this time were not known flood locations, so it was a challenge for us. But I think right now we're prepared in that we have not only at the locations that are known to us, but even at these locations that aren't known, we have pumps staged there as well. So we have a number of people out on this.
I know. I just wanted to see it. He looked like he was doing good until he just got deeper and deeper in there, and then nah. God knows what's in that water. Definitely like bacteria, viruses. Yeah, no. Just if you're one of those people that's like, I forgot what it's called, but you're always like disinfecting your hands and you're like Lysoling everything, like that would be like your worst nightmare situation.
On the scene this evening, that'll be prepared to respond as necessary.
I saw that.
And those people will be equipped with things like chainsaw to clear up any debris that includes subway lines and also commuter lines. And just on cue here, Chuck and Natalie, we felt a drop of rain come down. We are live in Washington Heights.
That's what it is, a germaphobe. Right. Yes.
I'm Gus Rosendale, News 4 New York.
Thanks, Gus. All right, let's continue. All right, so what was the clip we just saw? Sinkhole nearly swallows Upper West Side cars. Is that the one we just saw? There's no way it could have just erased by itself, right? Or you know what I could do? Just go back.
Storms once again drench our area. The city is taking action after
Sinkhole nearly swallows Upper West Side cars. Yeah, that was it, right? I just want to make sure. And then there's a dude. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's remove that. Let's continue on.
A major.
Alright, this next clip was from 2015. Okay, so this is a little dated. But it's called Science Behind What Causes Sinkholes. So I thought that would be important for us to cover, so I threw it in there. It's from August 19th of 2015. So this is nothing that's happening right now, courtesy of CBSN. So let's watch and find out the science behind what causes sinkholes.
A major sinkhole opened up on a highway in New Hampshire Wednesday, shutting
down. Oh yeah, that's deep. That's a major one right there.
Down part of Interstate 93.
And two major sinkholes. They're coming out in pairs.
It wasn't the only sinkhole to emerge. In Florida, another sinkhole reopened in the exact spot as a 2013 sinkhole that swallowed a man while he was sleeping in his bed. That man's body was never recovered. While no one was injured in Wednesday's sinkholes.
That's crazy. I'm pretty sure that's not the story that I recall. The first sinkhole I ever heard about, I want to say it was Florida. And it was about a family. And they were inside the house. And most of the family was in the living room watching TV. And one of the brothers was in a different room. And the earth opened up and swallowed the family that was in the living room watching TV, and there was nothing he could do about it. He was in the other room, and I want to say that like he tried or something like that, like to get to them, and he couldn't do anything about it. So this can't be the same one, but that's crazy. So there probably used to be a house there, or if not, you know, was he just like walking there or something? But a man fell in, and then years later the sinkhole reopened. This is a problem. You think it's the same one? Oh my God, that's so sad.
They're increasingly a dangerous problem nationwide. CBS News contributor Michio Kaku is a professor of theoretical physics at City College of...
She said Michio Kaku.
New York, and he joins us now to talk a little bit about the science behind sinkholes. First of all, why does it seem like we're seeing more of them?
Well, the population of Florida is expanding, and there was rainfall, record rainfall in the area. And Hillsborough County is known as Sinkhole Alley. And the state of Florida...
Wait, where? Definitely don't move there. Hold on. I need to write that down. Don't move to... Hold on, let me switch this page. This is my job applications notes, but I need to know where that was.
Is the sinkhole capital of America. So
wait, sir. What was it again?
Hillsborough County is known as...
Hillsborough? Is that what he said? Damn it.
More of them.
Well, the population of Florida is expanding, and there was rainfall, record rainfall in the area. And Hillsborough County is known as Sinkhole Alley. And the state of Florida is the sinkhole capital of America. So it's not surprising that you can get sinkholes in this situation, one right on top of the other.
Florida is one of the states that we see these sinkholes, and this one was so dramatic, again, because it happened in the same spot where a man lost his life. My understanding is that they went in and they had added gravel. Is it common for a sinkhole then to reappear in the same?
Look, this was the house. So there was a house there. And this is where the man fell in. And then they added concrete, and then it still reopened. Amanda Brooks says that's the guy from Ancient Aliens. Have you ever seen the movie, What the Bleep Do We Know? That was the first time I ever saw him at all. It's a pretty good movie. I liked it. Let me know if you've seen it. Let's continue.
Place once it's been addressed?
Yeah, what happened was after the sinkhole collapse of 2013, they filled it up with gravel, but they really should have done much more studies. For example, ground-penetrating radar would have shown that there was perhaps another hole underneath the previous hole. No. And that's why you have a collapse, one on top of the other.
And we're seeing there the overhead view of that sinkhole now. Okay, in addition to Florida, what other states really deal with recurring problems of sinkholes?
Well, you may be surprised to realize that 40% of the United States is potentially susceptible to sinkholes, including the state of Texas, Tennessee, Missouri, Georgia.
Oh no, did he say Texas? Damn it. And are these colors, like, do they mean anything? Because I'm in the red. Oh, that's scary.
Have a fair amount of sinkhole activity, and you realize that it's not uncommon to have the ground under your feet simply collapse.
What do these states have in common?
Well, they have what is called carbonate rock underneath. Now, the state of Florida is perhaps based almost entirely on...
Oh no, Jinxie too. We gotta be careful. What I've heard about Texas, I never knew if this was a myth or if this is true. Actually, this might be a good time to check. But I heard that no houses in Texas have basements because I think of what he's about to explain. Let me see. Do houses in Texas have basements? I didn't even have to finish it. It says, when Texans think basements, they don't often think they'll find them in Texas. Unlike many northern regions of the United States, homes in the Lone Star State don't typically have these underground level floors. And then why? It says, in some parts of the states, the water table is too near the surface of the ground, making leaking and flooding an issue. In other areas, the bedrock is too near the surface, making digging a basement difficult and costly. So it's not a myth. Emmanuel Brick says, I'm in California, so I'm safe. You got, like, wildfires to worry about, don't you? I'm just kidding. Everywhere has something. Yeah, Jinxie's like, we did. I know, Danielle. I'm so scared. I'm scared.
Limestone, a form of carbonate rock, which is porous. Water comes in, will dissolve the limestone, leaving an underground cavity that is not visible from the surface. And the cavity could then collapse if there's too much weight on top of the sinkhole.
And you said because so many people are moving to Florida that developers keep building and building. Talk about adding weight onto maybe rocky and holy ground.
That's
and
right.
Is that what happened to those condos that collapsed? Does anybody know what they... I didn't report on it because I want to say I was distracted at the time, A, and then B, I wanted to find out what the cause was before I covered it, because I heard some theories out there, and Danielle says, I'm in California, but I'm worried about Rachel. I'm worried too. I need to get out of here. California sounds good. I grew up there. I liked it there a lot. I don't really have anything bad to say about California. I wish I lived there. It's just too damn expensive. You know, that's the only thing. But yeah, I got distracted. I don't remember what I was going to say. Maybe it'll come back to me.
Holy, I don't mean sacred.
Right. And there are things you can do if you suspect that there is some kind of sinkhole underneath your house. For example, if the windows don't close properly anymore, and if the doors creak and don't shut properly, it could indicate the fact that your house is actually shifting. And if so...
Oh my God. God. I should have saved this for Halloween. Dude. Oh my God. Daniel, that is scary. This is scary. Daniel Williams, we're safe. safe. Just have to worry about earthquakes. That's what it is. And then being swallowed up afterwards. When I was a kid, I don't know if it was like, I want to say the late 80s, maybe the early 90s, but I was living in Central California when that big earthquake hit San Francisco. We felt a little of that. That was pretty crazy. I remember that. I was a tiny little kid. I must have been like first grade or something. Yeah, earthquakes are scary.
Oh, then you should perhaps get an engineer. There are three things.
But he said that if your windows aren't closing correctly and if your doors are creaking, that could be a sign of a sinkhole. The fuck? Let's hear that again real quick.
And you said because so many people are moving to Florida that developers keep building and building. Talk about adding weight onto maybe rocky and holy ground.
That's
and
right.
by holy, I don't mean sacred.
Right. And there are things.
And she's over here making jokes. What the fuck? She's not scared? She must not live in one of the sinkhole states.
You can do if you suspect that there is some kind of sinkhole underneath your house. For example, if the windows don't close properly anymore, and if the doors creak and don't shut properly, it could indicate the fact that your house is actually shifting. And if so, then you should perhaps get an engineer. There are three things you can do. One is ground penetrating radar. You can actually get a radar photograph of what's underneath your house. Second, you can drill boreholes, which will then look at the consistency of the soil. And third, electrical conductivity. By looking at how resistance changes with the depth, you can reconstruct if there's a hole under your house.
Okay, but so if there is a hole, what do you do about it?
Well, one thing you can...
You move! The fuck?
If it's a small hole, you can fill it up. Concrete, gravel, there are things...
Because that's what they did in that other one. And it turned out to be another hole underneath it.
You can do to fill up the hole. If it's a very large hole, you may think about perhaps selling the hole. Now, the state of Florida requires...
He said you might think about selling the hole. I can't believe it. They're cracking jokes at like my most stressful moment. Jinx is like, you get the fuck out of there. Fuck that. Oh my god.
Requires that the insurance companies offer sinkhole insurance. So you may seriously think about getting insurance.
And in this animation, we're showing you what happens when it rains. We know that Hillsborough County in Florida got a lot of rain. They were dealing with flooding just this summer, just in the last month or so, some pretty severe flooding. Any surprise there that you...
Hillsborough County, run for your life! Get out of there right now. This is bad. And this was years ago too. Imagine. Southern where my ex used to sell her whole. No. Stop it.
Saw the sinkhole erupt after so much rain?
Well, I think it means that there was a larger hole underneath the hole that was there previously. And realize that these holes could be hundreds, thousands of years old. When you look at the lakes of Florida, the beautiful lakes, many of them are actually ancient sinkholes carved out perhaps thousands of years ago. We're looking at fossil sinkholes creating the lakes of Florida.
So incredible. Thank you so much, Professor, for coming on and giving us a little explainer.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, and scaring the crap out of us. Some holes are fun to sink into. I wouldn't know. It's larger than previously. Damn it, you guys. Oh my god, that is hilarious. But real quick, Emmanuel, I just remembered a scene from that movie I was telling you about, What the Bleep Do We Know? I don't know if you've ever seen this clip. I don't know, it kind of went viral. Maybe it was trending is probably the better word for it when it came out. But it was an experiment that they did on water and emotions. So they had clear glasses of water, and then they put a word like on it, and it was like hate, like anger, like murder, like the kinds of words that would cause a strong negative reaction. And then there was one that I want to say said love. And then they did something to the water, some scientific procedure, and they looked at the molecular, like, compound breakdown, whatever you want to call it, of the water, and they said that on the ones that had negative words on it, that it looked very, like, dingy, that it looked very, like, unclean. You could tell it was just, like, ugly. But then when they looked at the one that said love, it looked like a really pretty, like, snowflake, like, crystal looking image. So that what their point was is that if emotions can do that to water, and we're made mostly of water, so you could just imagine what our emotions are doing to each other, like in a molecular level. It's a really interesting movie. I definitely recommend it. It's called What the Bleep Do We Know, and this Michio Kaku man is in it, and yeah, I really liked it. So I definitely recommend that. But yeah, that was crazy. I can't believe that shit, you guys. Alright, let's go ahead and remove that. Let's go to the next clip. Alright, this guy looks interesting. It's called Massive Sinkhole Becomes Portal to Hell for Gainesville Neighbors. Oh no! This was posted 2 days before Christmas in 2020, and courtesy of WFT News. Here we go. Alright, let's see. Jinxie says interesting, and then Amanda Brick says, wow, that's interesting. I believe it. I'm definitely going to check that out. Yeah, for sure. Let me know what you think. If I could find it like on a website, I'll post it here in a minute. But let's see about this portal to hell, this hell mouth, due to this sinkhole.
When I first moved here, in my first 6 months, hurricanes, floods, drought, wildfire, eastern encephalitis, shark bites, lightning strikes, tornadoes, alligator attacks.
Yeah, that sounds bad.
Jurassic Park.
Oh no.
That's all there is to it. Everything in Florida wants to kill you.
We have not seen something of that magnitude.
He said everything in Florida wants to kill you. I believe it.
Within the city. In my time frame, and I've been with the city for over 30 years. There is no process or plan to try to stabilize the sinkhole. It's doing its natural thing, and there's really not something that we can do that can stop it.
We live in and around sinkholes all the time. In fact, in many places, they become very desirable features in the landscape. This is the first one of this size and attention that it's received since 2012. Underneath here, we also have, down in the limestone, we have what's called the Florida Aquifer, which is the source of most of the potable water for the state of Florida. We have a superficial water table, which is just below the surface. That might be 6 to 10 feet below the surface there. Under very dry conditions, the water table drops, may become empty, may not have any water in it anymore, and it loses some of the structure and support, plus any clays above them can start to dry and shrink, and then that can lead to an opening up of the sinkhole.
Personally, I've probably been involved in more than 1,000 sinkhole inspections. A lot of them for insurance companies. So in 2011, they changed the sinkhole laws. Before that, most people in Florida had sinkhole coverage, and it was just part of their policy. And basically, all they had to do was say they're concerned they might have a sinkhole.
Jinxie said, have you ever listened to NF? No. How could you leave us by any chance? No, what is that? I want to know. If it reminds you of what we're watching or what we're talking about, I want to know. Amanda Brick said, oh hell no, only thing he didn't mention was locusts. For real, famine. A southern way, I'm waiting for a picture of my ex to pop up. Is she from Florida? Emmanuel Brick says, I wonder if all that weird stuff, all the weird stuff that happens in Florida is because of the Bermuda Triangle. Some kind of hellholes happening over there, because it is Florida. It's always the Florida man. There's some crazy situation in Florida. There's got to be something.
Insurance company would have to come out and do an investigation, and those investigations could cost anywhere from $8,000 to $12,000. And then in 2011, they changed the laws. So sinkhole coverage right now is an additional rider you add to your policy, so you pay additional money to have that added to your insurance policy. A lot of times the insurance company does go ahead and do testing just to make sure everything's safe, but legally they don't have to. The residual sinkhole that's left, even after the homes are gone, what's going to happen to that? What do the local homeowners have to do around there? And they're basically just stuck because it's not on their property and it is affecting their home value. And then there's the safety aspect of it too. Like how safe is it to stay in those homes?
Wow, that was really sad. Like even the music was like way sad. They could have used something a little not so sad. That was pretty wild. Alright, so remove from playlist and let's continue. Alright, so this is going to be like one of those information news clips. It's called How to Avoid Buying Homes Near Sinkholes, and this is from November 14, 2013. So it's been a few years. It's courtesy of ABC Action News. Let's learn.
The holes grow, and that's when you see the sinkhole. Normally you'll see some sort of evidence outside of the foundation of the home, and oftentimes it comes in the form of cracked walls. Of course, a big question on people's minds is how to avoid this situation from happening to you. Our Ryan Raish is taking action for you tonight with the steps you can take to find out if your home is in any sort of danger before you actually purchase that home, or maybe even a home you live in right now. Ryan?
Yeah, Jameson, there are resources out there to help, but you're going to see it's not perfect. I want to show you this map. We have this map up through the state of Florida. It's kind of overwhelming. Look at all the yellow dots. Each dot represents a sinkhole claim, but this is where it gets tricky because it doesn't necessarily mean there's a confirmed sinkhole, and it leaves home buyers with more questions than answers. Many will argue there is no sure way to predict when or where the next sinkhole will pop up.
I have to see that. I was writing down the music recommendation. No, I have to see that. That sounded crazy. Was that really a sinkhole? Sorry, guys. Oh, wow.
Many will argue there is no sure way to predict when or where the next sinkhole will pop up in Florida. But for those in the market for a new home, you can put the odds in your favor.
You're rolling the dice if you don't do your homework. It's really a big issue.
Roger Bennett runs RAB Sinkhole Repair. He says the key for prospective home buyers is research, even though there's no perfect one-stop shop that will guide you.
It's not easy for an average citizen to go do it because, you know, they really don't know what they're looking for.
This website, through the State Department of Environmental Protection, helps show sinkhole hotspots, but it's...
Wow. Those are sinkhole hotspots, okay? Is there anywhere that's not a sinkhole hotspot, except for that middle part in the middle? That's crazy. Sorry guys, but fuck Florida. It might be a nice place to visit, but I wouldn't want to live there.
It's misleading. The dots could be actual sinkholes or just claims that are actually cracks in the walls and not at all related to a sinkhole. That's when the county property appraiser comes in handy.
It's a really, really helpful feature.
Insurance agent Ryan McKay says Hernando County's website is by far the most user-friendly in the Bay Area. Simply plug in an address and it will tell you if there's confirmed sinkhole activity, or even better,
repaired sinkhole.
For home buyers, it's must-know information.
If a home's got a prior sinkhole loss and it wasn't properly repaired, it is almost an uninsurable risk.
Property appraisers in the Bay Area can also tell you if there's been sinkhole activity, but it's harder to find. We found in some cases they use different codes online and it's just not clear. Bottom line,
they're definitely taking a big risk. Jinxie says, oh my god, all them dots, they got life fucked up over there. Damn.
Jameson, when you're looking to buy a home, your research about sinkholes should rank up there with finding the closest schools and parks. Back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Sinkholes are big.
Yeah, no, when he said if there's a repaired sinkhole and there's a chance that it wasn't repaired correctly, you're going to take a risk. Like, no, if it says repaired sinkhole, I'm done. Well, forget Florida, first of all. But if I ever was trying to buy a house and it said repaired sinkhole, I'm not even going to bother at all. Alright, let's remove that from the playlist. Correct. Alright, and this next one is from July 17, 2017. It's called How to Identify If Your Home is at Risk for a Sinkhole, and this is courtesy of ABC Action News.
Concern for homeowners. So new this morning, we're finding out the best way to tell if your home is at risk. And Lauren,
Jinxie asked, I'm curious how many dots we got in Texas. I could look that up. I'll let you know right now.
People in every county need to be vigilant.
That's right, Dia. But let's take a look at the highest risk counties for sinkholes, because 4 of the worst are right here in the Bay Area. Number 1 is at Pasco County, followed by Hernando and Hillsborough, and 5 is Pinellas. But ABC Action News reporter Heather Lee shows us there are 3 things you can do to settle your fears.
They can happen anytime, anywhere. And in Florida, sinkhole experts at USF say there are thousands of them every year.
Oh, it was a perfect round hole.
Chuck Holloway lives in Seffner. He's reminded every day of the sinkhole that killed his neighbor and swallowed an entire bedroom 4 years ago. It was filled in but opened up again, leaving Holloway constantly worried.
Any noise at night, crackling, I usually get up and take a look around.
If you're concerned about sinkholes when buying a home, you can search the county's property appraiser website. If previous homeowners dealt with sinkhole issues in the past, it will list that. Holloway says a woman moved in just down the street from his.
If they know the sinkhole's here and they buy the house, they're taking all of their chances. What they want to do is what they want. You can't stop them. We got houses all around this place for sale.
Next, USF experts say ask around the neighborhood if any homes have sinkholes.
Dude, it looks pretty bad. I'm about to show you. I'm just waiting for this clip to finish.
Activity, neighbors most likely know. And if you do buy a home and are still worried, you can have an engineer come out and test the ground. Loose soil is an indicator of sinkhole activity. If it is determined unsafe, the ground can be stabilized. Heather Lee, ABC Action News.
Okay.
Anderson Cooper 360 weeknights.
Stop that. All right, hold on. Let me just close this tab because I don't want to get confused. So what we're gonna do is move this tab over here so I could look at it while I can see what you guys are seeing too. I'm gonna stop screen and then we're gonna share this article that I found. Okay. Alright, so yes, it explains some things and things like that, but what we're looking at is the maps. I'll go ahead and maximize this so you guys can see this. Alright, so in this picture it says inlay Texas County map, and it says like the little red area is where it's like zoomed in. Over here it says Valverde. It says a large map indicates sinkhole locations in green, outlines of land subsidence in pink, and then it says where the data is. So yeah, the green, this is sinkholes, and then this map right here says Texas County map displaying locations of abandoned mines, data acquired from the Texas Railroad Commission. So abandoned mines is a risk for sinkhole activity. Then it says down here, selected counties that contain abandoned coal mines might be susceptible to land subsidence and sinkhole development. Abandoned coal mines are in red. Then down here it says Texas County map with sinkhole prone geology and abandoned coal mine locations are in red. It says geology data from USGS, mine data from Texas RC. Here, this says oil well activity in Texas counties that overlay sinkhole prone geology. All these little dots are oil well activity in Texas counties that overlay sinkhole prone geology. That's like, Texas is a big state, okay? Like, if you're driving through Texas, it takes forever, no matter what. If you're going like south to north or like east to west or vice versa, like it's a big ass state. All this in the middle, sinkhole prone. And now look at this, oil well activity in Texas. That's almost a whole freaking state. That's insane. Southern Waste says, I don't even want to know about my area. I'll be outside today looking at the yard. I'm going to be testing the windows. Checking the doors. Like, damn. Jinxie's like, oh fuck. Yeah, we're doomed. I probably should have saved this for Halloween. This would have been genius, but I'm gonna prepare something for us on Halloween because I'm not going anywhere. Fuck that. All right, so let's go back to my my playlist. Where's that at? Where are you? Here you are, right? Where did my playlist go? It went away. I'm pretty sure I didn't. Oh yeah, here it is. Right? Yes. Yes, Anderson Cooper was interrupting my show. Alright, and then share. Here we are. Okay, so now let's continue. Let's delete that last one. Okay, now we're gonna travel inside a sinkhole, you guys. This was posted March 4th, 2013, and courtesy of CNN. Let's go.
8 and 10 on CNN.
It's just a few short steps down to an incredible...
Dude, that's a big risk too. Like, I'm imagining this whole top part just caving in at any second. What the fuck?
Underground site.
And this was the original cavity that eventually collapsed in.
A massive sinkhole carved out of solid limestone by drops of water.
So this is what a sinkhole looks like from the inside.
From the inside, yes, before you fill it up with sand and dirt.
And if someone were living right on top of this, they'd be at risk.
Yes.
Geologist Jerry Black says Sunshine State homeowners might be surprised to find out just how common these are.
What are the chances of someone having a house in Central Florida and living on top of something like this?
Very good. Not as probably as close to the surface as this, but you definitely have cavities of this size all over the state of Florida.
Fossils found in this sinkhole show it's been around since the Ice Age, but no different, Black says, than the sinkholes we see opening up today. These are just...
What were those sounds? Did you guys hear that? Jinxie said, might as well catch a glimpse of one before we actually visit one. That sounded kind of like Butthead. Hold on. Was I hearing things? That was weird. I thought I heard like... Watch, listen.
But no different, Black says, than the sinkholes we see opening up today. These are just a few of his pictures. The one thing they all have in common is water.
Rainwater is going to turn into groundwater, and that's what's naturally acidic. That's the device that dissolves the limestone and will help create these cavities.
What is unusual about this sinkhole, it's easy to get inside.
And then Briggs like, what the hell was that? It just scared the shit out of me. No, I don't know. I'm telling you, it's a hellmouth. That is Butthead. Damn it, it's a cornholio.
Called the Devil's Den. It's open to
get it hole. No.
Tourists for viewing and diving. Dive instructor Prince Johnson takes me under for a look. I find that this seemingly placid pool of water is anything but.
The water has gone down considerably because of the aquifer, but it has also risen when we've had hurricanes and tropical storms. It has risen another 45 feet.
45 feet?
45 feet.
So the water's constantly going up and down?
Up and down.
Depending on drought or hurricane?
Correct.
Down here, it's easy to see how fluctuating groundwater has silently wreaked havoc. I passed by limestone boulders as big as cars sitting on the bottom. And these same forces are still at work, compounded by the demand for fresh water.
It is progressively dropping yearly, and that's basically over the whole state of Florida. The aquifer is getting lower and lower.
Perhaps most striking to me, how appearances of this sinkhole are so misleading. A single beam of sunlight reveals the cavern is even bigger below the waterline, with tunnels and passageways carved deep into the darkness.
It's incredible to see like that, David. I mean, do you know like how deep that one is, and also how many there are in Florida?
Well, there are thousands across the state of Florida, literally thousands that pop up every single year.
He wants to know how deep it is.
The state keeps a loose track of them. People call in to report them when they happen. But think about this. We were talking about how deceptive these things are when you look at their size. There's much more to this cavern below the water level than there is actually up here where I'm standing. But look up here up top, the hole that opened up when this sinkhole was formed. You see the size of that. Now you see how deceptively large this whole cavern is underneath it. So when you see a sinkhole opening up on the surface, there's so much more going on down below that we never see.
Finally tonight.
Damn, Southern Wave High. How do you really feel about her, though? That's wild. Emmanuel Briggs, you know some dumbass kids are going to see that and go party in that sinkhole or fly like drones in it or some shit. Oh my god, that's wild. Alright, let me delete this before we move on. Okay, so we're down to our last 5 clips. Okay, so this next one is called Sinkhole on Missouri Golf Course. Finally, somewhere that's not New York or Florida. This is Missouri Golf Course uncovers amazing underworld. And this was posted June 24th of 2016 and courtesy of NBC News. Let's watch.
Look out below, a huge sinkhole opening up right on a Missouri golf course. But for the billionaire who owns the property, it's not exactly a catastrophe. NBC's Kevin Tibbles reports.
Beneath the pristine greens of this golf course outside Branson, Missouri, someone pulled the plug.
Yeah, that wasn't the happiest day.
A giant 70 by 40-foot sinkhole swallowed a putting green 6 months after opening. But instead of letting it all go down the drain, owner Johnny Morris, creator of the multi-billion-dollar Bass Pro empire, decided to dig deeper, much deeper. You saw it as an opportunity.
Might as well think positive.
He'd already discovered elaborate caves a few years earlier. What if this opened to another? Could they all be connected? And in a few years, could visitors marvel at the newfound underground beauty like they already do in the others?
The treasure hunt, and something to share with everybody.
There's no gold, but there's some golf balls.
Somebody made a hole in one.
Are you kind of blown away a little bit by what you've found?
It's beyond words, I think.
30,000 truckloads of red Missouri clay hauled away.
Over 300 million years ago, we would have been standing here with sharks or other sea critters.
Has anyone questioned your sanity at all?
People think I'm about a half a bubble off or crazier than heck. You can tell I'm really fired up.
Fired up at the thought Johnny's big dig might someday become a place where he can share the Ozarks' natural beauty above and below the ground. Kevin Tibbles, NBC News, top of the rock, Missouri.
Hey, NBC News fans, thanks for...
He said he was half a bubble short. What the hell does that mean? I've heard of, like, not the brightest crayon in the box. I've heard of not the sharpest tool in the shed. But what the fuck is half a bubble off? I don't have bubbles. Anyway, that was wild to hear. Okay, so let's continue on. This next one is called Deadly Sinkholes. What are the warning signs? And this was from March 4th, 2013. Johnny's big what? I don't know. He said what? I don't know. That was crazy. Alright, let's just watch this one.
Contributor Michio Kaku is a
Hey, look, it's him again. I hope... We didn't watch this already, did we? No, right? Because he didn't start off in the other clip, did he? No, this one's different. Alright, sorry, I got distracted.
Professor at City University of New York, welcome.
Glad to be on.
Explain to us sinkholes and why Florida is especially susceptible.
Well, even for Florida, where sinkholes are common, this was the Godzilla of sinkholes. We're talking about the fact there are 2 reasons why Florida is sometimes called the sinkhole capital. First, rainfall. Florida gets about 4 feet of rain annually, which moistens the soil. And second of all, limestone. About 50% of the state of Florida sits on top of a layer of limestone carbonate rocks, which are porous, absorbs water, and will actually dissolve. In fact, many of the beautiful lakes that you see in pictures next to the golf courses are actually former sinkholes that collapsed hundreds, thousands of years ago.
So how do you determine if you have a sinkhole under your house?
Well, first you can use common sense. You can look for cracks in the foundation, fences and telephone poles that begin to wobble, doors and windows that don't close properly. But if you're thinking of buying a house in Florida, I would advise you to think about getting a test with an engineer to look with ground penetrating radar.
Sounds like the same information, but I don't think it's the same video, is it?
Which can look several feet underground, and a cylinder that you actually insert into the soil to sense the solidity of the rock. So there are tests that you can make.
Are there other states other than Florida where this is a problem?
Yeah, there are 7 states where this is a growing problem. You have Texas, Alabama, Tennessee, Pennsylvania, Kentucky. This is not confined to Florida.
Areas where there are large limestone deposits and have a lot of moisture.
That's right. That's the key.
So how common is it, though, that people are getting one of these tests? I mean, I wouldn't ever think, you know, to call in and check to see whether there's a sinkhole under my house.
Yeah.
First, you want to check for insurance. Check your home insurance policy and see whether or not you are covered for sinkholes, because, you know, testing is advised before you buy a house in one of these areas.
All right.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kakut. Nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for scaring the crap out of us. All right, let's continue. Oh, we actually have 2 more, and then I have a recommendation because I can't show this hour-long documentary, unfortunately. I thought that I could, but then I found out that it was by PBS, and they do copyright people's live streams, and I don't want to have any issues. Jinxie, same information for sure, but I don't remember a guide being involved, so it might be another interview. Okay, good. Because I've done that before. Alright. Okay, so this is called Delhi, or how do you say this? It's Delhi, right? Police personnel's car falls into a sinkhole in Dwarka area after heavy rain hits capital. And this was posted July 19, 2021, so this was fairly recent, and courtesy of CNN News 18. So this is going to be a short clip, it's only 18 seconds. And it has like music, but yeah, that's a car inside the sinkhole, and it's getting taken out, and loud music. Yeah, I don't like the music, but yep. Okay, so now we know. Now let's go ahead and remove that, and then continue on. Alright, this is most devastating sinkholes in history, and this is courtesy of CNN, and this is posted August 15 of 2013. Unmute. Okay, there we go.
Dab in the middle of town. Perfect spot for a park with shade trees and a grassy pond. If only city planners here in Winter Park, Florida had come up with the idea themselves. Instead, it was Mother Nature's idea. On May 1st, 1981, the ground opened up 75 feet deep, 350 feet across, swallowing some of a car dealership, 5 Porsches, and parts of a swimming pool and 2 streets. It is still
How about this one, Southern Way? Does this one remind you of your ex-girlfriend?
considered the granddaddy of all sinkholes, and like most cases, it was
the granddaddy of them all, man.
impossible to rebuild over the hole in the earth.
If you look at the landscape of Florida overall, it's full of beautiful lakes, and most of those lakes are sinkhole lakes.
In the town of Seffner near Tampa,
I couldn't get him out. I tried so hard. I tried everything I could.
Oh, this is the story that I was telling you all about. He's the brother. He couldn't save his brother from the sinkhole. I thought it was a whole family. I guess it was just the brother. I mean, that's still terrible. I don't mean to minimize the situation, but I pictured a whole family for some reason.
the only person known to have been killed in Florida by a sinkhole is swallowed up as he was asleep in bed. Today, it's an empty lot.
Where did I get there? It was a family watching TV. I guess it was a while ago. I could have mixed up the information, but let me go back a little bit. That was wild.
Been killed in Florida by a sinkhole is swallowed up as he was asleep in bed. Today, it's an empty lot. The house is gone and there are no plans to rebuild. Even if you don't live in Florida, you're not completely out of the sinkhole woods. Over the years, the ground has opened up in North Carolina.
What if, Emmanuel? What if there was like big, huge, like creatures, and I'm not talking dinosaurs, like bigger than that, that were like stomping around the earth and created these holes. And then like for whatever reason the earth like grew over them, and that's why this is happening. That made me picture that. When you said that, it looks like every crater I've seen in a Godzilla movie. And then Jinxie says, oh, Insta and another YouTube channel. I got you. Oh, yeah. I have a true crime Instagram. So sometimes when I don't go live here, I try to update my Instagram with true crime stories. Sometimes what I like to do as well is I like to use my Instagram as sort of a reference for stories that I want to follow up on. It makes it a lot easier to visually see the stories, and then I'll go through them and I'll be like, oh, you know what, like I haven't seen this in a while, and then I'm pretty good at hashtagging, so then from there I can try to find updates or, you know, bring it over to YouTube to get updates and things like that. And then I do have another YouTube channel. It's my backup channel. It's called MissRaeMoody Talks, and that one is going to be for panels, open panels, or if I pick a topic and when I have panels. But I haven't used that because so far it's just been like me and Preach having, you know, like talks. So we do that here anyway. So I was thinking maybe later on down the line when more people want to pop up on panel and like talk and chat about things, I would use that account for that. So then Wade says, yes, I seen a camper full of people in it once. Wow. And okay, sweet. Yes, very sweet.
And swallowed cars in Illinois.
Sinkholes occur regularly in places like Texas, New Mexico,
You're crazy, Southern
Pennsylvania, Kentucky, Tennessee, a wide variety of places around the world as well.
Look at this scene in Toledo, Ohio from earlier this year. The driver was stuck in her car underground until the fire department finally rescued her. Today, that spot has been paved over as if nothing ever happened.
Not cool.
But it's Florida's natural geology, it's Swiss cheese-like limestone bedrock that's made the state the most sinkhole-prone in the nation. Just this year alone, this week's collapse at a timeshare resort near Orlando, and not far north in Weeki Wachee.
I came over.
Weeki Wachee?
And as I was walking out here, I stepped right here and my foot went down in the hole.
While it may seem there's a sudden rash of sinkholes, particularly in Florida, Brinkman says it has more to do with geography than geology. As the population grows, the more land you develop, the more likely you're sitting on a sinkhole. For Out Front, John Zarella, CNN Miami.
That's crazy. So it sounds like a ton of people are moving to Florida and making it cave in on itself. That's wild. Alright, so let's go ahead and remove this from the playlist, and then for anybody that's interested, let me just very quickly grab the link for this. It's a documentary courtesy of PBS, and it's about sinkholes. I mean, if you guys want, I could go offline and we could watch it the way I was telling you all. But like I said, you would need to hit the link and join the panel. You don't have to cam up. You don't have to have the mic on. You don't have to say anything. We can still chat in a chat the way we're doing it now. The only thing is, in order for me to show this, I would have to do it offline. So go ahead and let me know right now if that's something you want to do. I could definitely set that up. If not, then we can go ahead and call it a night. But I just want to thank everybody so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. I was having a really rough week, and this was a very much needed and welcome distraction from that. Everybody wish me luck. I got some things up in the air. I'm really hoping that they work out for me. I need them to work out for me, and so I can, you know, find myself, you know, with the puzzle pieces put together, instead of all up in the air how they are right now. So yes, thank you everybody for liking the video, for subscribing. Please share my videos, follow me on Instagram, subscribe to my other channel. I hope to have some kind of talk, or maybe I won't have panels. One topic that I've been wanting to discuss are like dreams and nightmares, because I haven't been partaking in herbal refreshments, if you know what I mean. And for some reason, that causes me to have very vivid dreams and nightmares. And they've been weird. And I've been looking up the definitions for them and stuff like that, and that's been interesting too. And to be honest, I would really like to get together with everybody and maybe we can put our knowledge together and try to decode what these weird dreams mean. And if anybody out there wants to share, you don't have to jump on panel, you know, in the chat, just, you know, talk about any weird dreams that you had. And, you know, like I said before, if there's something we need to look up, I will do that. I absolutely have no problems doing research. It's what I do. That's why I started this channel, is because I was doing all this research and I had to do something. I had to have some kind of outlet, and that's what this does for me. And it's actually very therapeutic. You know, even though I cover very heartbreaking topics and stuff like that, sometimes I do need to emotionally release my feelings, and it helps. Let's see. That will be an interesting show. All right, so Emmanuel is in. Awesome. You know, maybe I'll plan it as if I'm gonna do it by myself, and if somebody jumps up on panel, even better, right? And Jinxie says, what do you use to watch things offline? StreamYards. I use this very system. It's the same. It's just the way you're seeing this now. It would be the same thing. Only difference is I don't hit the start broadcast button. I don't actually go live where like you would see it, you know, pop up on a live and you can join. What it is without going online, I send the link out. Because you know how Preach jumps up on panel? I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's like that. But if you're on panel, you don't have to be cammed up. Like, see how right now I don't have the cam on? I have like this little picture, this little baby Yoda. And then if I want to mute, I do this. And I'm muted. But you could still chat in the chat, and I could see it. And I could reply to you and everything. But it's like I said, the only thing is I need like either probably your email, or if you're on Instagram, like add me on Instagram, let me know it's you, and I can send you the link there. You hit the link, and then what it does is it'll ask you permission to use the camera and the mic, and you would have to give it permission. But once you're in, you could just turn those things off, and then you could see the screen that I'm sharing, just how I am right now. Discord or something? I never learned how to use Discord. I tried it. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty okay with technology, but for some reason, when I tried Discord, I was like, what do I do? I don't get it. So I need somebody to teach me, probably. Southern West says, you're awesome. Don't get down. Aw, and I enjoy hanging out with you all. Thank you. I appreciate that. That means a lot. I really do want to create a community here, you know, where people can chat about, you know, not just what I'm presenting, but just whatever, and everybody just has good vibes, people get along, you know. Maybe a loving community is too much to ask for, but I definitely want a respectful community here on my live streams. And then Jinxie says, likewise, Southern Way. See what I mean? How nice is that? It is very pleasant to talk to people that are respectful and not just trolling and trying to piss people off. Sometimes, like when I'm looking for news clips, I'll comment, and it'll just be very like, how do I say it, respectful, and I'll just be like, oh, this is so sad, you know, or I'll add a comment to that, and somebody will just be like, nah, I don't care, I'm glad they died, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, do not come to my live stream, you are not welcome. So alright, well, I'm pretty sure I put the link to the documentary, right? I just want to make sure before I call it. Yes, I did. Okay, yeah, so if you guys want to know more about Sinkholes, that's there for you to watch if you're into it. But I will go ahead and call it a night. Please remember to follow me on Instagram and also subscribe to my other channel. And let me go ahead ahead and share this and make it big and mute myself and let the music play. Thank you very much, everybody. I will see you all soon, hopefully. Take care, and if you can, keep in touch. Thanks, guys.